Hello and welcome back to our afternoon coverage of the people of the state of Arizona versus Lori. Should I just call her Daybell? Lori Vallow, Daybell. I don't know.
Who knows who she is?
I don't know. We don't know who she is. So, all right, let me pull it up. We are a little bit behind, which will be tasty for us because we can then zip through at 1.25 and
we can say hello to an 18. She's been a member, or he, A to Z, for 18 months, which is like definitely the length, right? Long time lurker.
OG.
Well, thank you for your generosity, A to Z.
That's incredible. 18 months.
Yep.
That is incredible. That is so beauteous. All right, wait, I got to flip us around. I got to flip us to the other side.
You can make me smaller.
I got to flapjack. I'll make you bigger.
No.
Make you huge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Okay, let's fire it up. All right, I've got to set us. We're set right.
Next.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I last week on Monday asked you if you were objecting to him as an expert as much as late disclosure, and your at that time said it was late disclosure, that the case had been pending for 4 or 5 years, and that you felt that his disclosure a month approximately before trial was late. I then said I would go back and look at the state's 15.1 supplemental disclosure statement about his testimony. And it appears from the avowal made in that statement that he has relevant information that could assist the jury in making a determination. Do you want to be heard on that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I feel like it was the state just putting him on as an expert so that he can give his opinion. I wasn't objecting to him as a detective and someone who's been there on the case, or as the scene agent, but he went from scene agent to expert so that he can give his opinion. And I don't think it is relevant that he can give his opinion at this time. We weren't allowed to have enough time to get someone to rebut his professional opinion.
Right when it happened.
Based on his training and experience, he was going to make an opinion about one of the gunshots being fired.
A to Z, that is an incredible celebration. Thank you so much for that incredible generosity. Yes. 50 new members out there now. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so real quick, it sounds like they're talking about a witness who already testified. I can't tell that she's complaining that he went from, hold on, stupid thing is not, I think it's not centered right.
Your ball?
Yeah. Maybe that's why my tailbone hurts so much.
Aww.
Yeah.
Aww.
Went from detective or whoever on the scene to expert, which is what I felt like with at least the last two fire experts, but it seems they're talking about where bullets were. So maybe this is a witness to come. So let's keep listening.
I think it's definitely a witness to come.
Wait, before you
Uh,
do that, we need to do the Richard Allen tapes. We need to do a live. People are gonna go crazy, and so you need to
I don't have them.
yeah, we do.
What? No, we
What?
don't. Mm-mm.
Uh,
No.
well, we can get them, okay, from somebody who has them.
All right.
So, I think you should start a live. Alright, hit play and then answer my call.
Okay.
uh, possibly from
Don't forget to
the
mute.
victim laying in a prone position. Um,
As a firearms expert, and we haven't had a CV on how he's a firearms expert.
There was information on his training and experience contained within that 15.1 statement. I think additionally, questions about whether or not the extent of his training, the extent of his experience would probably go more toward the weight that the jury should give it rather than the credibility. Then I should say, rather than the admissibility of it. You're free to cross-examine him on his training experience or lack thereof. But at this time, I was inclined to allow him to testify. I'm hesitant to use the term as a full expert, but he has training and experience that could assist the jury in making a determination one way or the other based on that. So,
And he can't do that just as the scene expert or as the detective that was there?
well, I think he could, based on his training and experience, do that. I'm hesitant to call him an expert per se in the sense of a scientific type expert with scientific type testing, which requires more foundational evidence on someone's expertise. This type of testimony, I think, is testimony that a lot of people that have experience with guns could have an opinion on. Again, you can cross-examine him on his knowledge, his training, his experience, etc.
But will it be given to the jury that he's an expert in firearms? Yes or no?
I don't know. I guess I'll have to see how the testimony, what kind of foundation is laid for that by the state.
Well, she's saying they didn't get
Um,
notice that he was gonna be used as an expert.
All right. Anything the state want to supplement your argument or your 15.1 motion?
Your Honor, no. The defense was able to interview Dan Coons on March 21st of 2025. So after that was noticed, so they were given the opportunity to question him regarding any of his expertise or not. And really, the state filed that in an abundance of caution. I think that a normal scene agent with sufficient information and knowledge and training might be able to discuss trajectory, but we wanted to make it clear that he did have that sufficient background, training, and expertise to do that.
Are you planning on eliciting testimony
And he's an
that
expert, right?
an opinion as to which shot was first as opposed to which shot was second?
Only in that
Mhm.
he did attend the autopsy, so he does also understand both that information, the shored wound, which goes into play in his determination of the trajectory, as well as that the other shot went through the victim's heart.
Okay, so here's Trooper
so-
Paul, guys. Here's Trooper Paul. He's got his training and
I think we can
experience.
say that what he believes the trajectory for each shot is. I guess if someone wants to argue that he was shot in the heart first, or laying on the ground first and then got up and was shot a second time through the heart, that I don't think that he has that expertise to say that perhaps someone couldn't do that.
Well, I think the point I'm getting at is no one observed it that is going to testify to the shooting, as far as I know so far. And that I don't even think your medical expert could definitively say this was shot 1 and this was shot 2. So that's fair cross-examination. But other than that, I'm going to allow his testimony. If you have a foundational objection or any other sort of hearsay objection or evidentiary objection, you can make it depending on what the question is.
Okay. I mean, I don't really understand how the trajectory is relevant to conspiracy, so I would like to make that objection. We're stipulating that there was 2 shots.
Okay,
Your Honor, just for the record, it's because the defense is noted self-defense.
right. All right, let's bring the jury in. Yeah, why don't you do that? Hey, I was meant to ask Trey to move that. Hey, will you move this podium back? Because we're not going to need it until closing argument. Move this back over there before we bring.
Boy, that camera's right up in people's grills. All right, should I bloop bloop or should I just let it play so we have
No,
the
bloop,
time?
bloop. What? Just
You want-
bloop.
Oh,
Saving up the bloops defeats the
oh,
purpose of the
saving
bloop.
bloops. Yes, saving bloops. Oh, we ate up the bloop there. Bloop eating.
We'll pause and talk enough. Get some more bloop time.
All right, sir, come on up. You're going to stand right here. and
Here
be sworn
comes
in.
Trooper Paul. For those of you that watch the Karen Reed case, this is their equivalent. He might be right. I'm not saying that, but and I guess we'll know for sure when we hear his background and training. But
All right, so sir, go ahead and come around here. Have a seat to my left.
ooh, another 18-monther. Woo-hoo. Thanks for your generosity, Jennifer.
Big number.
Would you please introduce
Per
the
usual.
jury?
My name is Daniel Coons.
Is it
And
1.25 or
Wait,
1.5? That's a little much.
Well, I am
1.25.
part-time temporary employed with the City of Chandler
Perfect.
Police Department as
Right.
a civilian criminal investigator for cold cases.
where did you work before that?
Before
Okay.
that, I worked I finished working as a detective with the Chandler Police Department. Specifically, the last assignment was robbery homicide unit.
How long did you work for the Chandler Police Department?
Just over 30 years.
Wow,
Can
103.
you walk us through
Congratulations,
your different
Todd.
assignments at Chandler Police Department?
Sure. After my basic training at the academy, I was assigned to patrol. I did that for a little bit. And while I was in patrol, I was assigned as a crime scene officer. Now that's still a patrol officer, but it's additional duties such as collecting evidence, processing crime scenes, taking photographs, things along those lines. After I did that, I went to crime prevention for a couple years. I did that and came back to patrol. Found a calling to go into detectives. I became a family crimes detective for 5 years.
That was
And
Todd.
from there, I became a homicide detective. During that time, I was also assigned part-time. We don't have a full-time SWAT team, so I was on that for just about 20 years.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your training to become a SWAT officer and what a SWAT officer does?
So there are many jobs within SWAT. There's regular officers that typically will do entry. There's some that do, specialize in breaching, some specialize in grenadiers, and then we also have the snipers. So I was cross-trained to do the regular basic entry officer stuff, as well as I became a sniper, and eventually I became a sniper instructor.
Okay, so what kind of training did you have to go through to become a sniper and sniper instructor?
So the sniper training was a basic 40-hour course. I attended that with the FBI. And as time progressed, I would attend advanced sniper trainings so that I could enhance my skill set. And eventually, after having been on as a sniper for a while, I attended a 40-hour sniper instructor course.
Who is that with?
That was with the American Sniper Association.
As a trainer for snipers, what did that entail?
It entailed having to have a good working knowledge of the actual job.
Remember.
The ballistics that the rifles need to perform, knowing how to train new snipers, knowing how to keep snipers that have achieved certification to keep their skill sets up, and to keep meeting the mandates of what would be expected of a police sniper.
Did
Okay,
you ever
that's not-
become a shooting reconstruction expert?
I did.
Can you tell us what does that mean?
Oh, well,
It means that I attended a course.
Well,
It
you
was a
attended a
40-hour
course.
course where it was completely hands-on. There was classroom, a lot of hands-on with you not only see the results of different impacts and things like that, but you watch it happen. And then in some cases, you actually get to make it happen. And then after that, you, as a class, you work together, putting things back together. And at the end of the 40 weeks, there is a test that you have to pass to get certification.
You said 40 weeks?
Or sorry, 40 hours, sorry.
So what does, I guess, shooting reconstruction mean, if you had to explain that to us?
It means being able to take information from a scene and being able to put it together to reconstruct as best as possible or humanly
Pause this a
possible
sec.
what happened. For instance, you have bullet strikes.
I think Lori made a very fair argument. They are tendering this guy as an expert. That was their entire plan. He's not just talking about what he did on scene. And if they didn't produce him that way and give her a report, I don't understand. Is that you don't have to do that shit in Arizona? Like, this is bullshit. How's she supposed to be prepared to cross-examine this guy? She didn't have time to get her own expert to say that's not what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what they did in Allen when they put Harshman on, the guy who listened to all the audio of the calls, and then Gull allowed him to come on and say, "Oh yeah, it's my opinion that that's Rick Allen's voice." I'm like, what?
Well, but anyone can do that who's familiar with the voice, and I don't know if they would have needed to. Maybe they did disclose that. Maybe in the reports somewhere it said so and so says that
No,
like
they
we don't.
objected to it.
Oh, they did.
They didn't disclose that in the
okay.
reports.
Well, it's similar to that, but this is like ballistics reconstructionist. Come on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and the problem for Lori is
Well,
she's not going to be competent enough in tool markings to be able to effectively
not
cross.
tool markings, it's trajectory. You mean trajectory.
Oh, I thought you said it was ballistics.
I'm sorry, I meant trajectory.
Okay. So,
Reconstruction.
okay.
Shooting reconstruction.
Okay. All right. Either way, same
Right,
concept.
right. Same concept, different science.
Right. So maybe the correction was unnecessary.
In some cases,
Wow.
you can actually
Dig.
get a good angle or
You're lucky
ballistics
I love you.
information so that you can backtrack it
Same.
and get an approximate area where the shooter had to have been.
Touche.
In many cases, you
Touche.
can help articulate whether information given to you was factual or if the information given to you was not. And
Ooh, really?
this is very handy when there are no witnesses and you only have basically the person saying what happened.
Is there any type of certification process to be a shooting reconstruction expert?
Yes, at the end of that course, I had to successfully complete a test in order to get
Needs to
certification.
renew her objection.
And when did that occur?
That was in, I believe, early 2017.
Well, let me ask you, in light of the fact that they just kind of had it out with that motion, do you think that serves the same?
Well, I think the judge was saying, based on his skills, that he could offer an opinion, not an expert opinion under, specifically as an expert, which is why she ended with, are you going to tell the jury that he was an expert? Like, I guess we're going to have to see, does she say, Your Honor, based on that, we proffer him as an expert in the science of blah, 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 blah. But I think, right. I mean, I guess it's all, I guess she wouldn't need to renew it. Maybe the judge fully expected her to go, this route, but I think she made a valid point that if that's what happened anyway, if he was on the scene and they didn't disclose that they were calling him to put on an expert opinion, which I don't know if they did with those two firemen. Like if not, this is the kind of thing where she's getting away with some shit because she's pro se, but she's raised the right argument. And I just think that the judge should be,
I mean, Vallow's never going to know to renew objections or to, have a standing objection. I mean, that's the risk you take when you go to trial pro se.
I think this judge, if he decided after hearing this, the way I think he's been pretty fair throughout, you know, but that if he decided after hearing all of this that the objection she made had some merit, that he might just on his own say, we have to, address the matter, have the jury come out or call them up for sidebar. I don't think he would play that game like, oh, she doesn't know to renew it, or you know what I mean? Because she
Yeah.
did make the argument. And I don't think he's playing that kind of game. I mean, he's not doing her any favors, but I think if she puts enough out there, he's going to be like, all right, this issue was properly raised by her. And now I've decided it does have some merit, but
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see. Maybe this is what he expected all the time and he sees no issue with it.
Yeah. Mandy's talking shit about the Vallow trial. Let's put it up. I want to put her on blast. Look at her just talking shit. I think Mandy forgets how there were huge portions of Karen Reed's trial that were boring as fuck.
You guys had a
I mean, we
snooze.
were talking about a fan, for fuck's sake. I mean, we named a fan in that trial, so there was.
I think that snore was used a lot in that trial.
Oh yeah, we have.
But
There's
the thing
always
is,
gonna be boring parts of every trial.
right. I think there were a lot more. Um,
I mean, there was definitely more juicy shit.
all like throughout you're gonna get until they get into dark and light. This is all gonna be pretty boring.
I mean, I think that the saving grace for Reed too is going to be everybody's hate on Hank. Like, I think it's just going to be like Hank's going to try this thing much differently. This is going to be a much different trial. He is going to be way more aggressive than Lally was. That is for sure.
Oh, sorry, I moved. I didn't mean to.
I agree. OnlyFan was pretty good, but the point still remains.
Right.
There was a lot of boring shit in that trial. I remember people like early on, the first like week, 10 days when Lally was doing his like pre-buttal case. People were like, oh my
Puts
God,
people
this
to
is so
sleep, though.
boring. I know, it was boring. It was boring.
Who is that through?
I believe early 2017.
Who is that through? Who puts that on?
It was with Michael Haig,
And
his
who is-
company.
Who is Michael Haig?
He is part of a duo, father-son duo, that have become quite renowned for their ability to do ballistics and then teach it and train other people with it.
Okay. And have you utilized those skills that you learned in that shooting reconstruction course as a detective since then?
Yes, many times.
I assume you passed the certification test?
I did.
So on July 11th of 2019, were you working as a detective at that time for the homicide unit at the Chandler Police Department?
Yes, I was.
During the weekday, were you
Feeling achy.
work hours normally?
My normal work hours were Monday through Thursday, about 7 to 5.
When you are working as a detective, we've heard a patrol is out driving around. What are you guys doing?
Well, we carry a caseload. So many times we are working on the cases that we've taken previous days or weeks ahead of time. We're trying to come to a conclusion for those particular cases. But many times we also will have our radios on, just kind of listening to what's going on.
So are you at your office is at the main police station?
Correct.
Okay. On July 11th of 2019, did you hear some police radio traffic of a shooting at 5531 South Fort Peaks Place?
Yes, I did.
Did you respond to the scene?
After collecting some equipment and putting it in my vehicle, yes.
Is that normal then for detectives with homicide to go out to the scenes?
For the unit at the time, yes, it was.
Can you describe for us what the scene looked like when you arrived?
There were police vehicles around. There were officers that had established a perimeter. Some crime scene tape was already put in place. And they basically had frozen the scene.
Do you recall about how far away the scene was from the station where you were located?
15, 20-minute drive.
When you arrived there, were other detectives arriving? How does that work?
There were several of us that had self-deployed, and we were in various stages of being on our way there. So other detectives did arrive.
How do you decide which detective is going to do what at a scene when you all just show up there?
Well, a lot of times it's just a matter of who speaks up first saying, I'm going to take case. If it's after hours, then the person that's on call will usually be the person to do it. But if it's during regular business hours, it's kind of like a little wrestling match to figure out who's going to end up taking it.
What role did you get?
I got assigned the scene.
Okay. What does that mean to be assigned scene?
So the scene work, assigned scene means that you're responsible for making sure that the scene is processed properly, accumulate whatever evidence is necessary, report back to the actual case agent your findings so that they can stay aware of how things are transitioning and being learned, and then they can start making informed decisions on what the next step is going to be.
Do you do that alone or do you have help?
It depends on the scene. In this particular case, I had Detective Duncan along with me.
And do you have does Chandler Police Department have any like crime scene specialists or people that come up to help as well?
Yes, when I left the crime scene officer program, they had actually started a civilian program so that they could free up the officer's responsibility. So Chandler has several crime scene techs that will respond out when called.
And was someone called out to that scene?
Yes.
Do you sort of, as the scene agent, help, I guess, tell them what to do? Are you the person who's overseeing the whole scene?
It's more of a collaborative effort. We do provide direction on things that we're specifically interested in, but I've worked with them for many years, so it's pretty easy for us to just understand some of the basics that have to be done, such as overall photographs. Before we even think about manipulating anything or marking anything, we want to try to capture the scene as it was that we walked into it.
As the scene agent, did you create a diagram to just reflect what the scene looked like?
Yes.
And is that to scale?
It's not to scale. It's close, but it's not to scale.
Your Honor, if I can have my paralegal approach with Exhibit 5. And I think there's a second page in there.
It is behind, but it's not exposed to the back. Yes.
And is that the sketch and then the second page measurements of that diagram that you made?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 5.
Any objection?
If it's not to scale, I don't know how it will be helpful, but no objection.
All right, Exhibit 5 is admitted.
And if I may publish.
Go ahead.
Hot mic.
That's not a shot.
What? Ooh, hot micing. Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, we might use the one behind you.
Right.
All right, can I have the detective? Oh, never mind. There you go. Okay, so this is Exhibit 5, the first page. Is this sort of an overview of the entire residence as well as the items of evidence that you collected?
That is correct.
So we understand where we see these little yellow placards. What do those indicate on your diagram?
On this diagram, they indicate the items of evidence for that particular room.
Okay. And do they each have a number associated with them?
Yes.
And is the second page of your diagram a reflection of what each of those numbers refers to?
Yes, it is.
We see in this A, B, and distances. What is that?
So the reference points for this particular purpose, we did a triangulation method. So we take measurements from 2 known points in that room, and then we measure out to the item of interest. And then that was how we get a point A and a point B measurement.
All right, so at the first page here, that's the actual diagram. What is the reference points that you are using to make these distance measurements?
So the reference points are not depicted on this diagram, but in this particular room, if you look at the wall where items number 2 and 12 are, the upper or the left upper corner is B, and if you go straight down towards the kitchen area, that along that wall, that corner is A.
Okay, so when we see a reference measurement from A of 21 feet to the bat, We're talking 21 feet this way should be where the bat was?
No, you're talking 21 feet from that corner, straight line to the bat.
Okay. So whatever the closest measurement or closest way to get there would be?
Correct.
So the bat, it would be something like that.
Correct.
Okay. And then when we see reference point B for the bat, then you're talking from this point to the bat?
Correct.
Okay, just so we understand that. When Chandler Police Department goes to a scene like this, do they utilize any type of photography system to help better document a scene so that you can see things more clearly sometimes than with photographs alone?
Yes, depending on the scene, we would use a system called the Lizard Q.
What is Lizard Q?
It's, in essence, a 360-degree photographic system that you set up on a tripod inside or wherever your location is, inside, outside, and you start the process, and the internal computer for this system specifically takes a set number of pictures where it's overexposed all the way to underexposed and the images in between. And it does this at various locations along the path to create enough overlapping images, and then those images are stitched together and actually create a 360-degree sphere of the scene.
Did you have to get trained on how to use Lizard Q?
There was some training involved, yes.
If, again, my paralegal can approach with Exhibit 139, you can take a look at that.
Okay.
You recognize a thumb drive that is in Exhibit 139.
Yes.
What is on that thumb drive?
On this thumb drive will be the Lizard Q spheres.
Okay. And is there a reader on there so that you can actually view it?
Correct.
There's a piece of paper in there as well. What is that?
The piece of paper is a set of instructions on how to use the Lizard Q viewer so that you can view the spheres.
And did you initially the thumb drive to indicate that you had viewed it and you recognize that as the Lizard Q that you created on July 11th of 2019?
I have,
Or did you actually create that?
I created the thumb drive.
And that's your thumb drive that you put it onto?
Yes.
All right. State will move to admit Exhibit 139. And that's your thumb drive.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
139 submitted.
Judge, at this point, might I ask the witness to come down here to utilize the Lizard Q? I can sit at the table, but it needs to be put into a computer to do that, and I don't think we can hook it up there. All right, so if you can insert that on that laptop in there. Yeah, thank you. I'm sure I might have to log in. I just might have to log into my computer, sorry. Oh, no, slowly. Oh, you, there. All right, can you talk us through, so you've opened the thumb drive to where that's at. How do you get to viewing this program?
So first, you'll have to double click on.
Hold on, one sec, I'm sorry, we're waiting for it to. Yes, the USB is in that laptop up there on the podium. There, yeah.
So first you need to double click on the lizardqviewer.exe so it can open it up. And then it's going to ask you where to look for the spheres. That's going to be. And then you just double click on the sphere you choose to open up, and it will open it up for you.
Can you make that larger so we can?
Waiting for it to respond.
Got it. Okay.
So once you have the sphere open, you want me to just.
Yeah, if you can just tell us how to work that first, and then we'll ask a few questions.
So once you have the sphere open, if you depress the left mouse button, you can actually move the images around Without depressing the mouse button, you can zoom in and you can zoom out with the scrolling wheel. If you depress the right mouse button and use the scrolling wheel, this will darken or lighten your sphere. It will give you the ability to look outside as opposed to just the photographs washing it out normally so you can see inside. With this particular program, you can open up multiple windows, but you'll really only be able to view one at a time, but you can go back and forth between them.
So for this sphere that we're looking at, we see Charles Vallow there, correct?
Yes.
And then there's some white cards that we see around the room. What are those?
Those are 3x5 cards that officers have dropped in the scene. A lot of times they'll do that to help identify to detectives items that they observed and to be a warning to other officers to watch out for these items as you're either moving through or exiting the scene.
Is the Lizard Q program then used prior to the scene being documented? And let me say this. We saw in your diagram, Exhibit 5, that there were little yellow placards or numbered items. Is that something that's actually done in the scene? So we were looking at the bat, for instance.
Correct.
Let's see how crazy it sounds at 1.5 because this shit boring. I'm like fighting yawning. Oh, if I was in court, I'd be nodding. If I was in the gallery, just snoring away. Sir, you're going to need to wake up. All right, let's see if it sounds crazy at 1.5.
Gonna need all the jurors to
In
wake
this
up now.
particular moment in time, we just merely left it with the placards there.
That's
Again, it's
good.
attempting to capture the scene as we as an
1.5,
investigator
babe.
found it. There can be times that we'll do this first and eventually go through putting evidence placards down and then maybe do another sphere showing all the evidence placards.
So would it be fair to say that this is done to document the scene prior to police going through and having maybe digging through areas to find potential evidence?
Great. It's much like when we do overall photographs with the 35mm camera. This is just another enhancement of that.
For this,
Ben Johnson has met with his Bears for the first time, and the Bears.
Oh.
Now, the CHGO
That's
Bears
what Bob's
podcast.
really watching on the other screen, guys.
Some of them are cumulative.
Yes, yes, sir.
Bob's really watching.
Little
Bears.
Bears action.
What numbers?
yeah, which number, sorry?
Should we watch some Bears?
6
here?
through what?
138.
Do you have specific ones that you believe are cumulative?
Mandy wants to.
Yeah, I'd have to go back through to get them specifically. I have some.
Well, let me browse them.
Wait, is that Lori talking now? No. No, babe.
Bears.
Can you hear me, babe?
I can hear you like $1,000,000, baby.
Was that Lori talking or no? It's still the prosecutor.
No, it's still a prosecutor. They do have not dissimilar voices, especially at 1.5. I cranked it up to 1.5, baby. No, that was so with Apple, there's all kinds of shortcuts. So sometimes when I still think I'm over on the second screen and I do a shift something, it changes things. Oh, thanks, Mandy. All right, hold on.
Oh Lord.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Whoa, bloop, 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 bloop.
I put on your shirt,
What shirt?
like your little outer, like button up. It's thick, like almost jean, but not jean.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a little jacket. It's like a little
Yes.
jacket. What in the world are they doing?
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, God, are you kidding? Like Nate Eaton's live tweeting this. Allie, did you hit up Ange?
I will.
Do it. Do it. Oh, history knows.
Yep. Go Sox.
No.
I'm wearing jacket. That's coming up soon, though, right?
Yeah, the end of April. by the way, oh, she's gone. Never mind.
I'm here.
Oh, hi.
I still want to drink on like gulping.
Oh, one of I can't remember if it was Akasha. I can't remember who made the bingo card. And like me drinking out of the can was one of the bingo spaces.
What? Is my morning jacket shirt on?
No,
Houseplant.
I
I mean,
put a
people-
houseplant hoodie over.
no, I'm just saying, are those kind of things on?
What?
Like on a bingo card, Bob's wearing a houseplant shirt or
No.
my morning jacket.
No,
My morning jacket should be on there.
sadly. I never wear
Funk.
jacket shirts anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Funk, that could be on there.
The funk should
Or
definitely be
funk
on there.
off.
Yeah.
We both wear that shirt a lot.
Go funk yourself. Let's go funk yourself. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, go funk yourself.
No, but I'm not going to check out Billy Strings. We've seen him. He's super talented. I'm not a big bluegrass guy.
I'm not a big. I need my bass.
I do enjoy, like, Billy Strings is massively talented, though. But DJ wants to go see Jack White Thursday.
That
Salt
sounds-
Shed.
Salted?
Salt Shed, Jack White.
Wow, that. When is it? Gotta be indoors. Why aren't we blooping? What's happening?
I was blooping. Do you want me to bloop some more?
I mean, it's like
Hold on, I'm going to bloop.
I don't even know what we're doing right now. Is the jury in the courtroom? Are they reading jury instructions? What is literally going on?
I mean, the judge is plowing through some paperwork right there.
Oh, this shirt's got these deep ass pockets.
Deep,
All right.
deep pockets.
Mhm.
Well, I've reviewed exhibits 6 through 138. While many of the exhibits show multiple pictures of the same items, there's no two pictures that are the same. They show different angles, different distances, different perspectives, and in some cases, the item as it was found as opposed to someone picking it up and showing it from a different angle. So they're somewhat cumulative, but the court will admit those exhibits. They may help assist the jury in visualizing the scene and determining where things were at the scene.
The state's still pushing this. He had the bat in his right hand thing. It's silly. I don't know why.
So we talked about Exhibit 6 being the front of the house. The door that you were talking about there, is that the door we saw in the lizard queue that was in that front room?
Yes, that's the double front main door.
Exhibit 7 and 8, was that to document a vehicle that was there?
Yes, again, to try to do overalls of the scene to show how it was when we got there.
At that time, did you know whose vehicle that was?
I did not have the opportunity, nor did I run the license plate of it, but it was documented, and I believe later on it was learned.
Okay, thank you. But not something you were responsible for.
Correct.
When we get to Exhibit 9
End up being the
and
most.
then 10, is
relevant
this
thus
sort
far,
of coming
really.
up to, and I'm going to pull this back a little.
Once they get to it,
Yes, that's approaching closer to the door.
we're gonna see the bat.
11, which way are we looking as we enter the door here on 11?
So you would be looking to the northeast, northeast.
Northeast.
And you had talked about
North,
the diagram, a hat,
northeast.
is that sort of what we see here?
Correct.
Is Exhibit 12 sort of looking the opposite way from that sort of vantage point?
Correct.
Sort of
Wow, that was probably
Southeast, yeah.
Love me some white
And does
stripes.
Exhibit 13 show us what the front entryway looks like?
Queen says that-
Correct. So this image would have been taken from the
can't hear a word you're saying,
northeast
but-
corner of the main room there.
Queen said Jack was golden in Meg, his quasi sister. Remember when they first came out, it was supposed to be his sister. Wasn't really his sister, but he said, she said that Meg was kind of a turd.
But wait, are they the White Stripes or is it Jack White?
Well, it's Jack White. There is no White Stripes anymore.
Right. I don't even think I know any of Jack White stuff.
You definitely know a bunch of Jack White shit. Trust me. Trust me. It's all fire. That's all you need to know.
We can see in this then the hat with the placard of 1.
Correct.
So when we are looking at your diagram exhibit 5 and we see the 1, that's what that's referring to.
Correct.
Exhibit 14, can you tell us
Blunderbuss is great.
our perspective of what we're looking at here?
So you're standing in roughly the northwest corner of the room, just down from the entryway, and you're looking south.
So we start to see some of those white
Babe, speed it up through all this crap.
I mean, one,
cards there. Is this
Oh,
before
you are?
added in the
Jeez.
yellow placards?
Correct.
Okay.
This would have been part of the overall photographic effort.
imagine how painful this would be at real speed. Oh, wait. Oops.
Ah, I was like, damn.
Oh, man.
These are the slowest talking mother.
I fucked up.
So when we're looking at this house,
Oh, that's
I'm
better.
going to put up exhibit 15. Can you describe for us this wall here? Sort of, can you go all the way around that?
So that wall with the mirror itself is blocking where the kitchen is. There's an entrance to the kitchen to the right of that wall. And again, you could get to the kitchen through the left opening as well. But I think there's also like a family
Much
room
better.
by that area.
But it's open. One could walk through either of these ways and come around back out the opposite door.
Yes.
So exhibit 16, we see Charles as he lay when fire has left him at this point.
Correct.
So the items we see on him, we've heard of them cutting his shirt and things like that. This is you documenting how he was when you started to come into the scene
Correct.
after fire's already treated him and determined he was deceased.
Yes.
Over here, we start to see an area. What is right over there?
So just past that most southern index card is a hallway that extends to a bathroom and I believe at least 2 bedrooms.
Looking sort of to the north, what is this hallway here?
So now we're just looking north past the entryway. You can see the hat in the right part of the image there, and that would lead up to the master bedroom garage.
Okay. When you are looking at a scene like this, where you have a shooter, are you wanting to document all the different views of the items and the victim where they lay in the scene?
Yes, it's important to establish where things were at when we found them.
Okay. Now, are you able to tell us, for instance, if a casing rolled or a bullet rolled as fire is there or initial officers coming through yourself?
Having not been present to see it, I would not be able to tell you if any item happened to have been manipulated.
Okay. Does 19 show us part of that hallway that we're talking about to bedrooms?
Yes, it does.
And then right next to it, would that be the sort of doorway into the kitchen?
Correct. That's past this mirror on the left would be where the wall rounds a little bit and leads to the kitchen.
So exhibit 21 here, we see this hat. Why in 22 that you marked as number 1? Why do you collect something like that?
The indications to me, initial assessment was that there was some kind of a struggle that took place. And it was unknown at the time who the hat belonged to. So it was decided that this could be important.
Are you given more than one chance to go through a house and try to collect evidence, or is it sort of a one-time shot?
Usually it's a one-time shot.
So if you aren't sure if something is relevant, do you collect it?
Yes.
So that later, if you determine it is, you have it?
Correct.
And if you determine it's not, then no harm, no foul?
Well, I don't know about no foul, but it's, yeah.
So in this case, did you know whose hat that was?
I did not.
Okay. I'm going to put up 15 first. In the diagram, we had seen a number over in this area. What was that?
The item should be marking the baseboard, and there is a bullet strike in the baseboard.
All right, I'm putting up 23 here, and then I'm going to put up 24. What are we looking at here?
So what you're looking at is the actual bullet strike where it peeled away a portion of the baseboard, but remained embedded in the baseboard.
So I'm going to put up, as we kind of go closer, 24, 25, 26. Did you eventually show in 27 that you guys pulled back some of that board to get to show what was embedded in there?
Correct. And at some point, we were needing to recover that projectile.
Okay. And so in 28, does this reflect, now you've kind of photographed what it looked like when you first saw it, and then as you peeled it back and the actual bullet or projectile that was removed from there?
Correct.
All right. And 29, show that bullet from a different angle?
Yes.
When you were looking at this, and I'm going to put 30 and 31, was there actually some sort of white paint transfer on part of that?
There's a little bit of transfer of material to the nose of the bullet, yes.
I can have my paralegal approach with 243 and 245, or sorry, 243 and 235. Detective, do you recognize what those are?
Yes, I do.
What are those?
This would be the section of baseboard that we removed from the wall, as well as the projectile that we had removed from the baseboard.
All right, I'm going to put up 34 here. Does that show sort of after you pulled out that section of that baseboard?
Yes, after it was cut out.
Okay. And then it's the projectile that you recovered in there? From that location, the other exhibit?
The other exhibit is the projectile that was recovered from there, yes.
State will move to admit 243 and 235.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
You said 243 and 245?
35.
Oh.
243 and 235.
It's ordered admitting 243 and 235.
If I can have my paralegal go retrieve that. So let me put up, to give us again a different perspective, 17 here. We've talked about, as you're kind of working your way down, you told us you started with the hat, then you went over to the baseboard, and then you went back to the west wall.
Yes.
And so we see in this photograph, Exhibit 17, what you have marked as item 3. What was that?
That was the baseball bat.
I'm going to show Exhibit 35. Is that a closer up of that bat?
Yes, it is.
Were photographs taken of the sort of edge of the bat itself?
The
The
fat edge, I guess.
the fat edge?
Here,
Let's
I
call
don't
it
know
that.
nomenclature of the bat, so yeah.
Why? Hey,
Not the handle.
back
How's
to
Yes.
normal. What is
When
happening?
you were looking at this, were you looking
If you
for
catch up
any
to real
blood?
time, it's
Put up
gonna go to normal.
37,
Oh, my
38,
God.
39, or any biological material?
We were looking for visible evidence, yes.
That's heartbreaking.
Did you observe any yourself?
I did not.
Did the edge look pristine and clean to you, visibly?
Visibly, I did not see any sort of biological evidence on it.
Did you note any biological evidence anywhere on the bat that was visible to you?
I did not.
If my paralegal would approach with 249. Do you recognize what 249 is?
Yes, I do.
And is that the bat that we have seen in these photos marked
You still
as
there?
item number 2? We see here
Okay.
in Exhibit 35.
Who's next?
Yes.
State will move to
Oh,
admit
yeah, I forgot.
249, Your Honor.
Any objection? 248 and 249 are admitted.
Wait, no pressure since what?
So that was
Um,
item number 3. I'm going to put up
Indiana.
Exhibit 40. Do we see
I mean,
a
there's no
placard
pressure to
there
come, but
for
there's
number
pressure to
4?
RSVP.
Yes.
And what was item number 4? And I'm
I'm
going to put up
just gonna
Exhibit 40.
say,
Who are you talking to?
oh shit! I thought I was muted. I'm sorry.
Wow, we heard it all. Talk about some hot mic shit.
I'm talking to our daughter about the wedding RSVPs.
Oh, hot mic, hot mic.
No pressure to
2 here.
RSVP.
It is a full metal jacket projectile.
And in 43, does that show a different angle of that projectile?
Yes.
So this projectile was recovered to the east, maybe northeast of Charles Vallow.
Yes.
And was there any visible damage to this projectile?
There was some deformation to the projectile.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 239. Do you recognize 239?
Yes, I do.
And what is 239?
This would be what's identified in the picture as item number 4, the projectile that was found close to the body.
State will move to admit 239.
Objection.
No objection.
239 is admitted.
When you are photographing the scene, are you, again, we know this is after fire has been there.
Yes.
Were you present when fire was there?
I believe their engine was still there when I arrived on scene, but they were not inside.
So were you present when they were working on Mr. Vallow in the home?
No,
So do you know whether or not they had moved this projectile at all?
I do not.
When you were looking at Mr. Vallow himself, I'm going to put up 41, did you notice something on his left hand?
On the left hand, yes.
What did you notice on his left hand?
Substance consistent with apparent blood.
When you were looking at Mr. Vallow, did you note any other blood on his left arm?
I did not see any.
And when you are looking at Mr. Vallow, are you looking at the rest of his body to see if you noted any blood on his right arm?
Correct. I did not see any on the right arm. I did not manipulate the body until the medical examiner showed up.
So visibly, as he laid there in that supine position on the back with his arms out, what you were able to see,
Terrible person.
did you see any other blood like we observed on his left hand anywhere else?
On his chest, there was a little bit of blood, but on his extremities, I did not see any.
And so when we talk about his chest, is this the blood that we see here, sort of?
Above and below the pads.
Okay. Did the blood to Mr. Vallow's left hand stand out to you in any way?
Yes, it was interesting that it's just on that one particular part, but it's not completely surprising.
Was there any blood on the floor around where his hand was?
No.
So although we've heard of blood pooling underneath him, there was no blood around his hand as it laid there.
Correct.
So going back again to Exhibit 17, we've now talked about 1, 2, 3, and 4, correct? Do we see a
Yes.
placard number 5 there?
Yes.
What was placard number 5? And I'm going to put up Exhibit 45 now.
It is a shell casing.
And I'm going to put up 46 to be closer of it.
Babe, pay attention. I gotta go. I'm gonna go grab Scout real quick.
And
Okay.
47. Were you able
Court
to
off me
determine
back.
what caliber that
Mr.
was?
Rath, protect me.
Yes, it belonged to a 45 automatic pistol.
Now, as a police officer, do you have a semi-automatic pistol yourself?
At least one.
Okay. And I guess as a reserve officer, do you still have some?
I'm not a reserve officer. I'm just retired. But yes, I still possess firearms.
All right. So in terms of a semi-automatic handgun and seeing this type of casing, can you tell us when you fire a gun, where does this come from? What is that?
So in this particular image, we are looking at what's commonly called a head stamp. That's going to be the opposite end of where the actual projectile would be inserted into the casing. The circular ring that you see in the head stamp there is actually what's called the primer, and that's what the firing pin hits to initiate the primer charge, which ignites the powder and then sends the projectile through the barrel.
So if I put up 48 here, we have a projectile that goes through the barrel. What is this item here? It's casing.
So this is what's left of the cartridge. So it's the casing. This is what holds the powder charge. It holds the primer and it holds the projectile all in one unit until it's initiated with the firing pin striking the primer. After the charge starts the projectile down the barrel, then the most semi-automatic weapons will actually, the slide will start moving back to the rear, and there's a piece of the slide called an extractor that goes around that back rim of the projectile there, or around the head stamp, and it pulls it backwards out of the chamber. And then it completes the cycle going all the way to the rear where it hits what's called an ejector, and that kicks the casing out of the gun and readies it to go forward, stripping a new cartridge off the magazine, if there is one, and loading that into the chamber ready for the next shot.
So when you fire the gun, projectile goes out the barrel and this casing gets kicked out.
Correct.
So I'm going to go back again to Exhibit 17 where we see 5. And I'm going to put up Exhibit 49. To the south of 5 here, did you find another casing?
Yes.
Is that what we see in Exhibit 49 and 50 as placard 6?
Yes, it is.
So were those located in the generally in the same location?
Fairly close to each other.
When a casing is ejected from a gun, do they just plop down and stay right where they landed?
No, there are many different types of firearms out there, so the casings can eject in different directions. Some will, or most will eject out to the right. Some will go farther back towards the right, some will go forward, some will go center, some actually kick higher up in the middle. It really depends on the manufacturer, the process, how the person's holding the firearm. So there are a lot of things about it, but there's usually sufficient energy designed in it so that it kicks the casing out so it doesn't interfere with the feeding of the next cartridge.
In your experience firing guns, can casings bounce or roll or move after they are ejected?
Yes.
Item that we see is number 6 and number 50 there. What caliber casing was that?
It's a little blurry.
Do you recall if it was the same 45 caliber as the other one?
They were both 45 caliber.
I can have a legal approach with 238 and 240. Do you recognize 238 and 240?
Yes.
What are those?
These are the casings recovered from the main room where the body was.
What we saw as 5 and 6 in the exhibits?
That's correct.
State will move to admit 238 and 240.
Any objection to 248 and 240?
No objection.
248 and 240 are admitted.
238 and 240.
Oh, I'm sorry, 238 and 240? Okay, they're admitted.
Now, do the police move the body when you're processing the scene? Do you go around and move Mr. Vallow around?
No,
Do you have
Yeah,
to
we do
wait
that all the
for
time.
someone from the medical examiner's office to come do that?
that is correct.
Sort of the body is their responsibility?
Yes,
Are you present while they're doing that?
absolutely.
And are you looking for any other evidence that may be on, around, underneath Mr. Vallow?
Correct.
In this case, did the medical examiner's office come and remove Mr. Vallow's remains?
Yes, they did.
Once his remains were removed, did you document by photographing, we see here in 53, the blood that was left behind?
Yes, typically we would call this the void image to show what it looked like after the body has been removed.
Oh, is that normal?
Now,
Can
is
you
the
talk to
blood
Canton
then moved
PD?
somewhat by the body itself being moved?
Correct. Part of the process is the medical examiner's investigator will manipulate the body by rolling it from one side or the other to get a good look at the side that's not visible with how it was laying. And then they'll work on manipulating the body into the bag for transport.
So looking at the void or the blood pool that we see here, has it been altered somewhat from what we saw or observed while Mr. Vallow's body was there due to the movement of his remains?
That would be safe to say, yes.
Okay. Did you and other officers clean up that blood pool?
Yes.
And
Really?
in doing
Wow.
so,
Full
did
service.
you
Full
observe,
service.
anything on the floor?
Yes. Underneath, well, once the blood was cleared off, we could actually see a defect in the wooden floor that was consistent with the projectile strike.
Oh,
Exhibit
how you gonna
56.
explain that, Miss
There's a
Vallow,
placard number
Daybell?
13 there. Is that far away so we can see the location
I mean, I
of
guess
where that is in perspective to the room?
Yes.
Right under the blood, that's hard to
Having
explain
seen Mr.
away
Vallow's
that he wasn't
remains
laying
in
down.
the room and then having them removed, were you able to determine approximately where this defect that we see marked as 13 was located in relation to Mr. Vallow's
Mhm.
body?
The exit wound.
Yes, it would have been consistent with being under his left shoulder.
Did you take closer
Wait,
up
was there an
photos
exit wound on the
of
left shoulder?
that defect?
Yes.
Can you put up 59 that shows that
How does it-
placard?
Go
Is this
in
what
his
you were
stomach.
talking about?
That is correct.
How
he's
did you,
not
well, let me
laying
ask you,
down
did
when he
you look at
shoots.
the rest of the floor
In
to see if there were anything else that looked like that?
Sorry.
Yes,
I'll
that
wait for Bob.
was a consideration, so we did look at the rest of the floor.
So you went through that whole room to see if you found any similar type of defects on it?
Correct.
Did you?
No.
Nope.
So this was the only one that looked like that?
Yes.
And I'm going to put up 58. So we see other defects in the ground. What made this different?
The size of it, the directionality, the fact that it was directly underneath the shoulder where we observed an exit wound, and the fact that there was a projectile.
Pause it.
Do you want to know exactly how rural where we live is? Like Scarlett is asking me to drop her and Kenna off at the Jewel to hang out. I'm like, what? What do you? I'm like,
They
it's a
like that.
grocery store.
I took the girls yesterday when we broke for lunch, and Scarlett was not with Kenna, but they saw Kenna in Jewel.
What is going? Like, what? That's what it's come down to. Like, we're
Got
hanging
to
out at the
warm up
Jewels.
so they can ride their own bikes to the damn
The
Jewel.
Jewels. I'm like, why didn't you ask Doug? It's over
Right,
there, like
they're over there.
chipping balls into the.
So they got some evidence in here. I maybe I'm missing something because it sounds like they're saying in the abdomen, out the upper right shoulder. When they moved the body, there was a pool of blood under the body. When they
Okay.
cleaned up the blood, there's a bullet hole or a defect where a bullet where by the exit wound in the shoulder. So it's going to be hard for, for Lori to argue that he
I
was.
thought it was a gut shot. I thought
Well,
there was
that's
a
what
gut
I
shot.
think they said it went in the stomach and out the shoulder, which makes it seem like he shot from on the ground, I would think. How else does it do that?
Well, yeah, like the gut shot, the state in their opening absolutely said that the
No, I'm saying like the shooter was also on the ground. Because how
what?
else? Well, how else does it go in the stomach and out the shoulder?
What are you talking about? That's exactly the angle. Like if I'm standing up and
Right.
aiming my weapons trained at somebody laying on the ground,
Yeah.
I mean, depending on like if I'm 5 feet back, yeah,
I guess if you're back far
out of
enough.
the back shoulder.
Right.
I mean, it seems like they would have been able to follow the trail of the bullet through organs and shit, right? Theoretically.
Yeah. So if you're back that far, I guess and you're
I mean, if you're
short.
standing right above, because they said it was an upward trajectory, like the gut shot.
But couldn't that also be you're both on the ground?
What? Why would Alex Cox be on the ground?
Well, she said they were wrestling around on the ground when she left.
Oh, please.
I'm just asking, isn't that also a way that it could?
I don't think so.
If you're standing up and back and you're shooting down at someone, how in the hell does
You're
it
not
go?
standing like over them. Like, don't think of it
Yeah,
like
so
that.
that's
Think
why
of it,
it's
you're
like a
standing
shot
from
like
a
that.
distance. After Charles is already on the ground,
Yeah.
you're 5
yeah.
feet away, you're aiming still, but like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm assuming that's what this cop's going to testify to, the trajectory, right?
Yeah. And I take it back. If they did all of this, and measurements and all of that, like trajectory measurements, then, Lori should have been on notice that he's being used basically as an expert, or that his skill and experience would get him there. As far as her argument about him just not being considered an expert, but just being considered, one of the detectives on scene. I mean, he definitely, it seems like thus far did a full reconstruction type of analysis at the time, which would have been in the discovery. But this is obviously good for overcoming the self-defense argument. They still have to prove the conspiracy part, but at least they're making some headway here with this stuff.
Indeed.
Found on the floor in proximity. The fact that there was a projectile found on the floor in proximity to this defect.
Was it, let me ask you this. As a person who has processed crime scenes, fired guns themselves, did it appear to you consistent with a bullet strike?
Yes, it did.
And what were
We
you
used
basing
up
that
all our
on?
time, didn't we?
The way the indentation is and how it tapers up, coming away from the body in the same direction that the projectile was located.
Did you and other detectives remove that piece of wood?
Yes, with great
Wow.
pain, yes.
All right, putting up Exhibit 60. Is that to
They
show
they
the
took
piece removed, and Exhibit 61 to show the actual piece?
Correct.
And did
Did
you
they do
write
that
on it
that
so
right
that you
then?
would be able to later look at that piece and know how that fit into the puzzle?
Yes, it was important to make sure to establish directionality on that piece.
Wait, could
I can have
pause
my
this a
parallel
second.
approach with 240. Oh, I'm sorry.
And yeah, all these pauses are building us back up to the 1.25 speed. Are you muted right now?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so basically you're telling me they had all of this. I didn't hear him say he came back and did this later, like pulled up the floor. They did all of this that day and still decided it was self-defense. I mean, how do they?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't think the jury ever hears that. At least that's my understanding of why there was an objection um, at the time of opening. You know,
I mean, there's been a lot of criticism of Chandler PD's investigation here. You know, I mean, it took them all these years to finally bring whenever they brought the case against Lori, it was I think after she was convicted in
right? So
Idaho.
I feel like this is the kind of thing that how she could open the door. If she keeps pushing for, well, you initially determined it to be probable, I mean, self-defense, which I don't know that she'll be able to say it exactly like that, but if she opens the door by them being able to say, well, now we need to tell the jury what changed their minds. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what shifted them to look at this again.
Lisa said I'm still pasty after Florida. I'm still pretty pasty.
I'm pasty too.
I mean, it wasn't that warm.
No,
Like
it was warm. It's just the UV wasn't really high.
wait,
Scarlet
in
was,
one day it was raining, right?
yeah, I was peeling like a little bit up here. I mean, I got like a slight amount of color,
I
but yeah,
got a
you're
little bit on
pasty
my
as shit. I don't
You're
know what you're talking
pasty.
about. You're
You
pasty
pasty as
as
hell. You
shit.
pasty.
You
So
one
damn
pasty
pasty.
motherfucker.
You a pasty motherfucker. All right, let's go.
How much time do we have built up?
Not much. I mean, we'll do it.
No, don't do it yet. Save it. Save it to when Lori's just doing stupid shit. Because right now, this is like the crux, I think, of this guy's testimony.
How late? How long did they go yesterday?
6 their time.
Oh,
So we got an hour and a half.
oh my god.
We got half the people we had yesterday.
244.
Wow.
Because I think everybody knows this was not self-defense, you know? And Lori's not doing anything that outrageous to make
Do you
this extra
recognize
interesting.
244?
I do.
And is that the actual piece of floor that was removed from 5531 South Four Peaks Place?
Yes.
State will move to admit 244.
Any objection?
Ah, don't be a limpy, babe.
244 is admitted.
And is that what then we see?
Can't even hear us, Mandy.
Here in Exhibit
I can hear you.
61.
Oh,
It is.
Wait,
Obviously,
regarding
this
what?
is inside
she
plastic,
just wanted to throw it out there, I
but
think.
this is the piece you're talking about.
Correct.
We're changing the what's the words I'm trying to find?
Yeah, I might go hang out.
Vernacular.
You're
Changing the
a little bit
vernacular
about,
one person at a time.
I might go hang out with Scout and Kenna at the Jewels. See what's up over there. Go check out the Jewels. Hang out at the little. Did you know Scarlett said they're building a new Starbucks by us over there?
I'd appreciate one. I mean, it's probably because they get so much business in the jewel from it. I mean, I would literally, if I'm in my pajamas, drive to the one in North Aurora instead of going inside to the supermarket.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to get out of their car? Are you kidding me? And most Americans are just damn lazy as shit. They don't even want to walk.
Lazy motherfuckers.
But if I
rest
don't
of
have
the
a bra
house,
on,
and
I'm going to
then
the
so
other
we can
one.
come back to this.
I'm running out of the house for some reason without a bra on.
Did you told us
Okay.
Would
when,
now be a good time to take our
Sure.
afternoon recess?
Yes.
Since we're close to 3,
Oh
why
my
don't we take
God, we're
our
not
afternoon
even-
recess, stretch break, etc.?
How much time do we
Oh.
have?
Not like much.
Well, we can go over people's. We don't even have that many starred questions, but stop being super dad. We are on to you. Bob's a super dad, but he does not want to play with Scarlett at the Walgreens. Tell you that much.
Wait,
I mean, I went to
of course.
Walgreens. I don't know why. At the Jewel.
like the Walgreens, at least they have like a good candy section in there. You know? All right, we'll see what we got here. It's not going to be good.
Was he getting off right this second? That was it.
Please remember the admonition,
they're
and we'll
taking that
resume in about
comfort
15
break.
minutes.
All right, do it.
all rise for the jury.
Somebody, when we put those comments up the other day, and we should probably do this if we have time. How much time do we got, babe?
I mean, 15 minutes.
No, I mean in blooping time.
Not much blooping.
All right, so in the community page, and I had it up yesterday, but I think I
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The community page made it enter my brain, and I forgot to say it yesterday. So we've got about for our members only live that we're doing, we've got about 14 voicemails with questions. So I'm going to set that up. I'm supposed to have Dawn Perlmutter on, who was going to be Richard Allen's ritual expert who testified at the 3 days of hearing. She hit us up and she wants to come on a live. That was supposed to be Thursday. I've got to try to figure out if that's still going to happen, but I want to get this live done, the members only live, some point this week. So keep your eyes out. Oh, good. Yeah. I got yours, History. I listened to both of them last night, actually. So thank you for that. So it'll be cool, though. It'll be cool. I think I set up a voicemail for our members can call, leave a voicemail with any question about a case that we're following, anything really. Ask us anything type situation. And then we're gonna go through. We're gonna play the voicemails, so y'all get to hear yourselves on the live, and then we're gonna answer questions. It'll be fun.
All
I'm
right,
super excited about it.
So here's what one of them said. Where is it? Okay.
Like 15 people actually left voicemails, Mandy.
Where'd it go?
Yeah, videos would have been cool.
He or she would
This
have
was
said,
like easy. It was like a click. It's a click and they leave a voicemail. I wonder if you could do videos. I mean, some people might not want to be on. Like they just like I don't want to hear my horrible. I told you your voice is not horrible, History. I thought it was quite delightful.
delightful. I
Delightful.
can't find it. Somebody said Lori made a statement. Oh, here it is. Slightly tangential. It's from whatever clever. But Lori gave an interview to Arizona Family Channel 3, and the interviewer, Brianna, asked some questions regarding her trial and trial strategy. Not sure if you watched it, but if you didn't, can you watch with us and comment? So
On what?
it just says Arizona Family Channel 3. So try Lori
Wait, what am I doing?
Vallow Daybell, Arizona, or maybe Arizona Family Channel 3, Lori Vallow Daybell.
What the hell? Arizona Family Channel? Is that like a TV channel?
I don't know. That's what it says. Channel 3. Arizona Family Channel 3.
That sounds like some whack shit. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, I did. I knew that distracted. I did tell Peter that masshole was a compliment. I did. Oh, it's a local. Yeah, Fuzzy says it's a local channel. What did she do? An interview? What's up, Caitlin? Caitlin fired on that unsteady woman, Jamie. Like she's one of the ones. There's like that group of 50 on Twitter that are always piping in, saying stupid shit. She didn't even get it right. It wasn't a Discord channel. It was somebody broke into our.
People are just so ridiculous. I see comments like that, and it just takes everything in my power not to be like, you all have your shit wrong. You're not even
Yeah,
getting
but,
the
like, that's the
misinformation.
game, though.
Yeah, but they're not even getting the disinformation correctly. They got disinformation from
But they're
some
trying to get a big account to react to them in order
right.
to drive engagement to them. That's why I never do it. You did handle her. K-Bot took care of her for me, and I always appreciate you. You didn't call her a chud though.
What's a chud? And that doesn't sound nice.
It's not nice. Like when
I thought
K-Bot has to eliminate somebody, she said her tagline is, "You shouldn't have said that, chud." and then she flames throws people. It's usually like she'll do like a deep dive into people, and like
we don't
most of the
recommend that.
time she's like finding out that they're like some kind of sickos.
Yeah, I don't recommend that.
Well, that's why I leave it to
So, well, no, you're not whatchamacalling that,
what?
condoning that or suggesting that.
Oh no, like the people that she does it to absolutely deserve it.
Okay.
For sure.
I don't condone that. I got an asterisk to get right next to that shit.
Wait, so someone tried to stir up drama between Emily D. Baker and Larry No on her stream today. She didn't platform them, but had a ball utilizing the ban hammer. What the hell's that?
What's all this mean?
I don't know.
Why would they want to stir up? Like, I can't see either of those two lawyers, like, even if there was something to bicker about, like getting petty and starting to bicker about something.
Yeah, there's no way that they were doing it. It sounds like it was
No, I
somebody.
know that somebody was trying to stir it up, but I'm saying it's hard to stir that up.
Yeah, K-Bot is definitely busy these days. Yeah, and then they get their account suspended. It's like always when somebody pops off saying like awful shit, like she doesn't do it just without it being warranted.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
she's good. She's good. Trust me. Banhammer is blocking people, I believe. So yeah, I don't know.
what is banhammer?
A ban. I just told you. Kai says it's banning people. Banhammer is like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's banhammering people? I'm sorry.
Like Emily was banhammering people that were trying to stir up shit.
Oh, well, then
in
that
the
sounds
chat.
like what she's supposed to do.
Yeah. Talking shit about Pete.
Well, or just like trying to get everybody in her chat stirred up and talking about something off topic, like, whatever was happening. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like.
Yes, I would agree with Crystal, although I have no idea what we're talking about, but that's.
I wish more of you were on Twitter so that like you guys could chime in with the mouth breathers come at me because.
No, stop.
Huh?
No.
Huh?
No.
Huh? Yeah, that's true. We don't want to give them the engagement.
No, right. And you don't want to. No.
All right, so let me see what I got blooping on.
Ignore. That's what we tell our children. When someone picks on you, you ignore them. That's the biggest way to shut somebody up. They're not getting any flame for their fire or fan for their fire, whatever the hell it is.
Hell yeah, Lisa, go over there. Oh, Allie says no, Lisa.
No, well, I don't know what we're talking about, but no. When they go low, we go high. Come on.
I always go high.
Yeah. Bum.
Yeah, Marcus, I'm on
That's
Twitter.
what he said.
It's defense_diaries.
Oh boy. All right, so you never found that Arizona Family 3, Lori
Oh,
Vallow.
that's what we're watching in lieu of? Or,
No, while we're waiting.
Okay. What's it called? Arizona Family 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Family, is it like ABC?
I have no clue, babe. All right, let's see. I'm gonna say hi to some people. Beautiful Messy Ball became a member. I've definitely thought Beautiful Messy Ball. Maybe it's a renewed membership kind of thing. MB, thanks for your generosity.
So when did she do this thing? What was it, an interview?
I don't know. And then I put this up from History and Homicide. Thank you. Just sending this to stay awake. Love you, Bob and Allie. Love you too. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you to all our members for your generosity.
All right, y'all give me more on the Lori Vallow thing. I'm
gonna
in
read
Arizona's
what he
family.
said. So literally, this is what it says, or she. It looks like, I think women in that picture, but I got old lady eyes. Slightly tangential, but Lori gave an interview. That's all we got. Oh, and
That's
there was a Brianna that was the host, I guess, so that could help. Just try putting in quotes, Arizona Family Channel 3 and that in quotes, and then and Lori Vallow Daybell, not in quotes, just in case they use Vallow, Daybell, who knows. Interview, maybe. Are we arguing? I thought that whistles for when we're arguing.
oh wait, 3
All right,
days.
while you're looking for that, I'll read off some of the
I found it. Oh
oh,
my god, she is such a dipshit. She is such a creep.
she did ruin that like hairstyle that sometimes I used to like to do to just run out and
Yeah, she jacked it.
mhm,
She cold jacked your shit.
made it like undoable.
Okay, I found it. Okay, this is
Is it
exciting.
long?
Totally fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd be like beyond.
Oh,
Really-
isn't this the thing that we all saw?
I've been so curious to talk to you for a long
All right,
time.
so this is awesome because the interviewer has amazing lighting, and then Lori has the worst lighting of all time. This is like, all right, we're gonna give the reporter just the most fantastic lighting of all time.
And cast a shadow on Lori.
Wait, do you guys not want to watch this shit?
You will get oh, they're warning us. Okay. Wow.
Really?
Apparently, people know.
Oh, they have been. Okay, good.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for the whistle. I was like, why are we getting whistled at?
Okay.
Wait.
All right,
Thank
good.
you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I thought you were just whistling for shit and giggles. I was confused, but I was looking on the other screen at the time. All right. So the answer to that is no, we will not be watching that. So
The whistle means stop.
right.
Lisa.
Okay. All right. So Carrie Holland F5I, I think is what it says. What would need to happen, or what would need to happen for what happened to the kids to be brought in, or would that cause a mistrial? So if some witness just mentioned what happened to the kids or mentioned anything about that,
Well,
and it's not
distracted therapist with $50 holla. What?
Thanks
Thank
for
you so much.
generosity.
Distracted.
So
How delightful.
if a witness just kind of throws something like that in and it's not been something the judge has ruled that this is allowed to now come in because of X, Y, or Z, that would definitely, I think, cause a mistrial. Or let's just leave it at it's something that is highly likely to cause a mistrial if it were to happen. It's definitely in the depending on how bad it was, I guess it'd have to be like pretty bad kind of reference, like, well, whatever. But for the judge to say it's allowed in, and now this is there's an asterisk about what I'm about to say because Bob and I did not see the pretrial rulings on this specific issue. But I would assume, okay, and this is an assumption, and that's why I mentioned it with this witness right here, that if Lori pushes the whole, you thought it was self-defense at first issue too much, or basically says something that makes it like, well, now everybody's wondering how the hell did they start investigating this again, or what prompted them to investigate again. Like, for example, if she's like, yeah, but then you did, and she kind of alluded to it in her opening, like, you did nothing for 5 years after that, right? Well, now if I'm the state, I'm going to say, well, Your Honor, now she's opened the door to us telling the jury what made us relook at this, what caused us to relook at this. Or again, if she does the same thing, I could see it popping up if it's like this whole self-defense thing, like that's what you determined. And if it goes a certain way where the prosecution can argue that now we are, the state can't present its case without explaining to the jury what caused us to relook at this case. I personally don't think, and I know it was something that Peter mentioned yesterday, from the lawyer, when we were on with him, that her talking about the relationship with Charles and that the fear from that, um, or the need to protect from that. I don't know. I don't think that would open the door, but that's the thing. You can see even when you have lawyers on the same side of an argument, or the same side of a kind of seeing things from the same angle overall. I mean, opinions are like assholes, even lawyers, we all have them and they're different. Um, I'm not seeing right now how that in and of itself would open the door because I think that there's some basis in fact for them to have said that was going on with them. And I don't think that that's a direct connection to, yeah, but then you were involved in her unaliving. So, how much did you want to protect her? Maybe if she pushes the protecting thing too far, maybe could that open the door that she's trying to make the jury think that she was so driven to protect that I don't know, it depends, I guess. I sort of did change my opinion between when my first opinion of the opening slightly, as far as Peter made some good points as to bringing in the dark and the light and the getting real deep in the weeds with that stuff, kind of to offset the picture of Lori as just a
Arizona did away with peremptory challenges. What? That sounds
no.
insane. There's no way.
It's a constant. Who said that?
Somebody in Peter's chat said it.
Well, maybe there's something we don't know, but I think that that's a U.S. Constitution.
Now
Bill.
you can't challenge any jurors. I don't know. Sounds wrong. Sounds wrong. Sounds like bad intel to me. So somebody tweeted at me. I'm unsure whether you already got this answer, but Chocolate Milkshake says, I believe this was his way of gauging how long he was out there by how much the shake had melted or didn't. They spoke about how hot it was in that same line of questioning. So that makes sense. So yeah, the chocolate milkshake was pretty melted. So I'm going to go ahead and say I was out there for about 7 minutes. Were they talking about time?
Yeah, I do believe it was how long he was there. I think that was what my instinct was when I was thinking back to it. And earlier, I kind of did think, I feel like it was a way of him saying 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But no, I think it was a time count thing. So is that a metaphorical chocolate milkshake says, or did his chocolate milkshake really melt? Because he definitely didn't say, well, I had a chocolate milkshake out there but
no, I
maybe
think one of the kids probably got the milkshake at Burger King. If I had to guess, either Tylee or JJ
Well,
got the milkshake.
there was no reference to anyone actually having a chocolate milkshake. It was
I think there
literally
was really
just
a chocolate milkshake, though.
maybe,
I
but
think there had to be. I mean, do you respect the milkshake? Clearly, they don't respect the milkshake. I mean, obviously. All right, so we're back. The sound doesn't seem to be. Long Crime's a little slow on the sound uptake. Just so y'all know, it's not me.
We'll do an update maybe on Koberger tomorrow because we're going to be covering this until
They got to up the sound game. It's not me. It's them.
Bob. Is it you? Can you turn up the sound, Bob?
Yeah, I saw Koberger has a hearing on the keeping the Amazon stuff out. It's a pretty big one. I think
We'll
it's set-
definitely do an update on it
I think it's set
after.
for 2 days.
Well,
2 days.
but we can play the milkshake.
What the hell is going on here?
Right? Are you sure your volume's up?
I'm pretty sure.
The magazine.
Yeah, see, it's them.
There, what is,
All right, we'll keep
So-
going back until you.
Like I can hear them.
It's about to change right now. You're good. It's still super bouncy today. I don't know if everyone else can see it though. I'm trying to keep my
Tomorrow is
core
Wednesday,
tight,
the 9th, Brooklyn.
and then I don't bounce as much if I keep my core tight, which is what you're supposed to do anyway.
Idaho 4, there's 2 days of hearings regarding the defense trying to keep the Amazon data out, which obviously relates to the potential searches. I mean, they're going to be really interesting.
Yeah. All right, do a blip with your finger.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Wait. Wait.
What did
Oh,
you note
there we go.
here?
So there was again another bag, and more specifically, there was a pistol that was laying on the floor.
We start with 72 here. Was that just like a garbage bag with some clothes in it?
Yes.
So of more relevance to you was what was next to it?
Correct.
What did you find there? What is this orange thing there? And we see a whole lot of placard numbers.
Right. So the placard numbers are obviously identifying particular items that are going to be seized as evidence. That we have the orange bag with what appears to be a gun box inside, and then we have the pistol. And the 3 placards next to the pistol are specific for the pistol itself, the magazine from the pistol, and potentially the chambered round in the pistol.
Okay.
Comment.
So 74, is that a close-up of that pistol?
It is.
Oh,
What kind of pistol was that?
Pardon.
What caliber was it?
It's a 45.
Is that the same caliber as the casings that you had found in the front room next to Charles?
Yes.
Does this show another angle of that pistol in 75?
Yes, looking at the top of the pistol.
When the pistol, as we see, is picked up in 76, the individual's wearing gloves. Why is that?
Again, to help preserve the evidence, in the event that DNA were to need to be done, we could articulate that we did not touch it with our bare hands to impart our DNA onto it.
Are you visually looking at this gun to see, and this is 77, if there is any visible biological evidence, blood on this gun?
All right, I'll be right back.
Yes, we do look at them to help determine that.
And did you observe any biological evidence, any blood or what appeared to be blood on this handgun?
What the hell happened? Oh, when he said he'll be right back, he's out. All right, guys, I'll bring it up. I'll fix it. Whoa. Let's see. What I don't know is about where we were. So let me try to. I think we're about. Yeah, this looks right. Okay. Okay.
No, ma'am.
If you had observed that, would you have noted it and photographed it and documented it?
Yes.
Now, when you got this gun, was it loaded?
Yes.
And in 78 and 79, is that photographs of the magazine in the gun?
Correct.
So when we talk about the
Is it too loud now? Because I boosted it. I can unboost it. I don't know if Bob has ADHD. It's good. All right, guys. If it gets too loud or if I'm too loud with it or whatever, I'll keep an eye on the comments. But for now, I'll let it go.
Magazine, I'm going to go back to showing Exhibit 76. Where is that in this picture?
So you can see the base of the magazine at the bottom of the grip, close to what would be the individual's left thumb. There's that black piece of plastic that extends horizontally across the base of the grip.
And so that's the magazine that you then took out that we see in 79.
Correct.
Okay. And why is the magazine removed?
Well, we have to make the weapon safe, and that's the first step in making it safe, is to remove any more source of ammunition that could feed into it.
Was there a cartridge or a live round in the chamber?
Yes.
So how do you make that safe then?
Well, the only way you can is to manipulate the slide to force the extractor to pull the cartridge out, and the ejector kicks the cartridge out.
Okay. Also in this photo, there was this orange bag, and you had told us that inside of it, we can kind of see the corner here. We see it better in 82. Did you remove an item from that orange bag?
Yes.
And I'm going to show 83, 84. What is that we see there?
That is a gun box that is consistent with the firearm that was laying on the floor.
So consistent with the 45 caliber handgun.
Correct.
All right. So it was in his bag closed is what they showed. Now, Lori tried to argue that he was asleep, right? He was asleep. Tylee was asleep. And they were awoken by Charles yelling at her and ran in to make sure she was okay. When the hell did he close that box back up and put it in his bag? I mean, am I right? That's like, boom, case closed. Case closed. As far as I'm concerned, that to me personally just resolved any question about whether or not it was premeditated or self-defense. I don't know. What are you guys feeling? You feel me on this? Did case closed? Well, Camilla agrees. Boom. Right. Well, then whoever blows my entire theory. Maybe he had it on the nightstand or something. People do that with kids in the house. Just got his thing on the nightstand. I don't know. I guess if they were so worried about Ned coming in, they know Ned's coming and he had to be prepared. I don't know. I like my first theory before whoever blew it up. All right. Let's go back. I mean, let's keep going. What? Crazy. Well, is this the same comment or somebody verifying the comment from before? I'm going to look into that. All right, play.
And that was inside this orange bag. Was there any live rounds? And I'm going to show you Exhibit 85, also in that orange bag.
Yes,
And a closer up of that, was that another 45 caliber round?
it is.
And so when we say it was live, it hadn't been fired yet.
Yeah, cartridge has not been fired.
We start then by having my paralegal can take up Exhibit 237 or 246.
All right, well, you guys are right. That's why I was not so quick to be like 100% for sure that it didn't happen. But yeah, Arizona, the first state to do away with preemptory challenges.
She's going to start them at 237 and 246. Guys, 237 and 246.
Yes,
And is that the gun and the magazine that we see here in Exhibit 76?
it is.
The gun that was found in that pink room?
Correct.
State will move to admit 237 and 246.
Any objection?
Is Mr. Coons saying that he didn't take those, but he recognizes them from being in evidence? Is that correct?
I think he testified he recognizes them to be the same items from the scene.
No objection.
237 and
246.
237 and 246 are admitted.
Now I can have my paralegal approach with 247, 248, and 236. Sorry.
That's what I'm saying. Foundation.
247, 248, and 236.
Yes, I do.
And are those what we saw in Exhibit 83, the gun case, as well as in 73, the orange bag that the gun case was in? And hold on, that was found inside that bag.
Correct.
State will move to admit.
I'm flipping this.
Just a foundation, Your Honor.
Hmm?
If he could give a serial number or something that could authenticate those?
Well, he testified that those were the items that he recovered from the scene. So I guess you can question him about that on cross. Give me the numbers again.
247, 248, and 236.
Those items are admitted.
I mean, come on, Lori, you're trying to deny that those were the.
I'm going to show you, as you continued sort of in this hallway, Exhibit 88. Do you, can you put us into perspective of where that is? I'm going to put 19 sort of back up. Where is, what we see, this room with the blue on it, Exhibit 88?
So those two doorways would be on the south side of the hallway that leads up to the pink or maroon room. Specifically, the blue one would be the most southwestern bedroom of the home. And then the other doorway is to the hall bathroom.
Okay. So again, did you go into room, this blue room, and look for any potential items of evidence?
Yes.
So in the room with the sort of child themes on it, did you find anything bloody in there?
No, ma'am.
Any ammunition in there?
No.
In the pink room, we saw the gun. Did you see any, did you look in the floor of that room to see if there was any blood drops in the pink room?
Yes.
So I'm going to go back one second to 87. So on this floor and the bed and around here, did you notice any blood in that room?
No.
No blood swiped across a wall?
Come
No.
on, I said
No
no.
blood on that orange case?
The orange bag?
Asked
Correct.
and answered. 'Cause he said
No blood
No
on
blood.
the black case for the gun?
No.
asked and answered.
Or the
Asked and answered.
extra magazines that were in there? Any blood on those?
Asked
No,
and answered.
none seen.
So then in the blue room, did you do the same sort of thing? Look to see if there was any
Thought we were just in the.
bloody clothing, any blood swipes, any blood drops, that sort of thing in there?
Correct. No items of bloody anything was discovered in there.
Okay. And nothing on the floor either?
Correct.
When we go to 92, you said that was the hall bathroom next to it?
Yes.
Do we see that in 93 and 94 here?
Yes.
Did you look in everything, like even the sinks, to see if you saw blood there?
Yes.
Along the countertop to see if you saw blood there?
Correct.
Did you note any bloody items, any that was anywhere in that bathroom?
I did not.
When you were walking
I
down that
agree.
hallway to those rooms, did you look on the floor there to see if there were any blood drops or blood trails or swipes of blood on the wall?
Yes.
Did you observe any there?
No.
So 98 here, can you put us in perspective of what we're seeing?
So this would be towards the feet of the body, where the kind of the hall splits to the kitchen and then to the bedrooms that we were just discussing.
99, Is this like a lanyard that was hanging on the wall there?
Yes.
So it wasn't knocked off or anything?
No, it's where we found it.
And as you go through 99 there, is that how you entered, one of the ways you could enter into the kitchen?
Correct.
And is this sort of a view of that?
Yes.
So in the kitchen, did you look on the floor there to see if there were any blood drops?
Come on.
Yes.
No one ever said it was
Along the
bleeding enough
cabinets
for
to see if there were blood drops there?
Yes.
When you got to the sink, I'm going to put exhibit 103 and then 104.
Oh, I see. This line of questioning is going towards the fact that Alex was not observed to have any blood on him, and he clearly didn't wash the blood off because they didn't see any in the sink. And if he would have done CPR over the holes, there'd be blood. I think that's maybe Bob did take. Sorry, there's me bouncing all over. Maybe Bob did take Scout to Jewel. All right. No, you missed nothing, Justice Mama. It's been more of the same old nothing. But there's reasons for the questioning that everybody's not seeing yet. And it's sometimes it's the best way to do it is where it's the way you're supposed to kind of lay the foundation for what you're going to argue in closing. So it's going to be like, you heard from this guy, there were no blood drops, there was no blood in the sinks, there was no. So where did all the blood go that was on Alex's hands from doing CPR, kind of thing? All right, let's go.
Did you observe a small amount of what appeared to be blood on the faucet itself?
Yes.
Did you look sort of as well in the sink itself to see if there was any blood there?
Yes.
Did you observe any there?
Did not see any visible blood.
Now, when you're going through the house and looking to see if you note any bloody items or any other items of evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find whose comment just pointed this out about, from being hit in the head. But I just don't think that they ever made it seem like there was so much blood coming from being hit in the head. She's more, I think the hit in the head is more the goose egg situation. But maybe that is why she's going there. It makes more sense to me that it would be about the having blood on the hands. But if this is all about the head, I don't think anybody thinks you're bleeding from being struck in the head with a bat. You're going to have a huge lump, but maybe it's both things.
Are you looking in things like trash cans?
Yes.
So was this a trash can in the kitchen, for instance?
Yes.
And did you note any bloody rags or towels or anything thrown in there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You said that there was also sort of a living area in there.
Correct.
I'm going to put up exhibit 112 to get a better perspective of that. So is this the doorway we were talking about?
Yes.
And so the kitchen here opens up
Come
into
on,
the living room.
can't you just
Correct.
establish you
Did
searched
you
all
look
the
through
rooms?
that area to see if you saw any?
I mean, I just don't, because of the amount of blood that we're like talking about here, I just don't think now if that this is just necessary to do so much, like going in detail in each and every room about how much blood was not there, instead of just saying you searched the entire house, you photographed the entire house, and there was no blood drips, no drops, nothing in the sink. Come on, because you're losing the jury when you do it too much. But Bob will be back. He actually can't help himself. We are on 125. I'm going to go up to 1.5. Here we go.
Blood on the floors?
Yes.
Did you observe any?
No.
Did you look through that area to see if there was any blood on any of the furniture or walls or anything like that?
Yes.
Did you observe any of that?
No.
In exhibit 111, where does this doorway lead?
That leads back out to the mirrored room, the main room where the body is.
And
So when we were talking about the two doorways, one sort of directly into the kitchen and the other, and in exhibit 113, can we see sort of both of those doorways?
Yes.
sorry, guys.
Oh, yes.
So throughout this whole area, again, you're looking for anything that might be, and we talked about the original layout of the house.
Sorry.
Is this that front entrance area again?
Yes, it is.
And where are we looking in this perspective?
So you were looking in a north direction.
Where does that head towards?
It heads towards the garage, the master bedroom, and I believe a room that could double as an office.
So when we go along this wall here that we see in 115, 116, 117, is this the sort of what we would call office or playroom?
Yes.
Did you look through there, see anything bloody in
Oh,
there?
there he is.
We looked and found nothing.
Was there
There
a,
he is.
like a powder room in this
People
area?
really
Yes.
hate you.
And did
I
you-
had to dip over to Michael and Linda had asked me to jump on because they just passed 10K. So I jumped over there. They wanted
Yay
me to
for
jump
Michael
on.
and Linda.
Yeah, they're great. I love
Yeah,
them. I
yeah.
love them.
So now she's been for probably the last 5 minutes or so, going almost inch by inch, room by room, of all the places they did not find any blood drops or droplings or in the sink or you know.
It's still the state.
Yeah. Did
Oh,
you look under the couch? Did you look over the couch? Did you look behind the light? Did you No, she didn't do all that, but she might as well. Everybody's saying that you have ADHD and got bored and left. You've been the talk since you have departed. This is interesting.
I was glad you took over the YouTubing.
Yeah, well, I can't leave myself unable to pause while you're gone. But I don't know if they mean if Glastica, I don't know, is talking about the room that had no furniture or one of the other 1,000 rooms that they've been going through right now. And maybe that's part of this, that they're showing a lack of furniture in the rooms. We're not seeing it, but I don't know. Here we go.
You're looking in sinks and
Oh,
in
Lord.
trash cans?
Correct.
Flip.
Was there a laundry room in this area?
There-
Bloody items in here.
It was looked through, yes.
So although there's some clothing and some folded towels, none of those had blood evidence on them.
Nothing that stood out with blood evidence, no.
And then again, even looking in the trash cans that we see in 126 and 127,
Correct.
128, are we now heading into the master bedroom?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
129, was there sort of an office set up in there as well, 130?
Correct.
And are you again looking through the floor, looking everywhere for any items of evidence?
Correct. Anything to indicate that what happened in the other room transferred into this?
Okay. Or any cleanup from after it?
Correct.
As you went through this, did you do the same sort of thing, looking through the floor and walls, 132, 133, for any blood evidence?
Correct.
Did you observe any in the bedroom?
No.
Do you go into the master bathroom and check there as well?
Yes.
So 134, 135. Did you observe any evidence, blood evidence in the master bathroom?
I did not.
And again, checking even the
She's
toilet
put any
itself
on
as
the
well as the trash can?
tampons.
Yes.
There was a
I see in
tampon.
137, 138.
See the garbage.
So
Tampon
other
box?
than the one drop or whatever smear of blood on the kitchen faucet, did you see any other blood evidence at the scene?
No.
Let me put that in a different way. Other than what was around Charles's remains.
Correct. No trails, no swipes, nothing that other than the sink faucet in the kitchen. And
All right, well, there you go. Sink faucet in the kitchen because he washed his hands in the kitchen. Come on.
the area where the body was.
So you told us that you cleaned up the blood there and you saw that defect in the ground that was consistent, or in the flooring, that was consistent with a bullet strike, correct?
Correct.
When you were looking at this scene, I'm going to start with 15, did you note injuries to Charles Vallow himself?
Yes.
On the front of him, where did you note the gunshot wounds to him?
Immediately before the medical examiner arrived, the only visible gunshot wound was in the lower left abdomen area.
Did you learn one was in the chest underneath some of the medical debris?
Yes.
When you are looking at this scene, are you able to utilize part of your shooting reconstruction training to try to determine any type of trajectory, or if anything is consistent with trajectory based upon the scene itself, items that you are able to view there?
I do try to apply my knowledge of that to the scenes as I go to them and go through them, and with whatever evidence or information comes directly back to me.
Are you relying on, for instance, the location of Mr. Vallow?
That's part of it.
Are you relying on the location of the casings?
That's another part of it. Not a major part, but it is another part.
Are you relying on the location of the projectiles?
Yes.
When the medical examiner came, were you also able to see exit wounds on Mr. Vallow?
Yes, in conjunction with also the chest wound.
Okay, so when the medical examiner came, you saw a second injury to the front side of him.
Correct.
Where was that approximately?
In the sternum.
So for us, somewhere in,
About the center, maybe roughly the center of the chest.
okay. So the other one you said was in the abdomen.
Yes.
When the medical examiner was there, where did you observe other gunshot wounds on his back?
I observed another one that would have been just to the left of the spine, and then another one that would have been by the left shoulder blade scapula area.
Now, given the number of casings, did you start with an idea that there might be two shots?
Yes,
Given the number of wounds on Mr. Vallow, did that appear consistent with that theory?
very much so.
So 2 entrances, 2 exits?
Yes.
When you saw the projectile that you recovered, that we see in Exhibit 20 on the side over here, that entered into that baseboard, given the injuries to Mr. Vallow and the projectiles and the location of this, were you able to determine any consistencies of where the shooter may have been when that occurred?
Approximate location, yes.
And how did you do that?
Based on the wounds to Mr. Vallow, the location of where the projectile had ended up, and where the casings were, the working theory at that point was that the firearm ejected the casings to the right, striking the wall where that has the curve there, and bounced back towards the west wall. The projectile would have continued on a relatively straight path and embedded itself in the baseboard at the other end of the room.
So would that have put the shooter somewhere in this area?
Yes.
And so that to you seemed consistent with one of the shots having gone through him and ended up what we see in Exhibit 20 over here in the baseboard, Mr. Vallow being somewhere over in this area.
Correct.
Okay. Given the information that you obtained, let me ask you this. Given the information that you saw at the scene there, again, with the casings, the injuries to Mr. Vallow, both to the abdomen and the shoulder, and then after you cleaned up the blood, the damage to the floor underneath the location of his left shoulder, were you able at that point to start have any concept or have a idea of what would be consistent with where the shooter may have been and where Mr. Vallow may have been for that shot?
Yes.
What did you base that on?
Again, a lot of the factors that have been discussed: location of the projectile, item number 4, the defect in the floor that was underneath him, the location of the second casing. It was all consistent with the shooter having been at the feet, not necessarily right upon the feet of Mr. Vallow, but in that direction, close enough so that the projectile could again bounce off that wall and land on the west wall.
The projectile or
the casing? Sorry.
When you were looking at this scene, I'm going to put 56 up. Obviously, there's no exact. I'm going to move Mr. Vallow this way just to kind of be looking the same direction. Did this defect appear to be in the area of Mr. Vallow's shoulder?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Vallow had been rolled a couple times by the time you cleaned that scene out.
Yes.
So you didn't like stick a rod through him there and see if that worked?
No, that would be inappropriate.
Are you even allowed to do that?
No.
Is a medical examiner frown on that?
Yes, the body is theirs by law.
So you're basically able to look at where he was located and say that that is consistent with being underneath his left shoulder.
Yes, and we did take measurements of the body before it was moved.
All right. So when you measured where the body was and then you cleaned up that blood and measured where that projectile divot was that consistent with where his left shoulder was?
Yes.
Given that information that you had at that time, were you able to draw any conclusions as to whether or not the evidence was consistent with Charles Vallow being laying on the ground when he was shot?
Very much so in the position that you see him. He was the second shot that entered the abdomen would have been where he was lying.
Did you attend the autopsy itself?
I did.
And when you were can you tell us what it means when you attend an autopsy as a detective?
So as a detective, we go to the medical examiner on the date that they're going to do the autopsy. There is the autopsy suite itself where the doctors and technicians work with the bodies. Observers will be outside of that suite, but able to communicate with the staff. There's a window where we can see everything that's going on. And like I said, we can communicate either by a phone that's on the wall or they'll come around and talk with us. We have the ability to observe everything that transpires. There's even a camera overhead that we can manipulate to get a different view. Say the feet are towards us, we can get the camera to look at when they're working on the head or something like that.
When you were at the medical examiner's office as they were performing the autopsy, did you learn additional evidence that helped support your opinion as to whether or not Mr. Vallow was laying on the ground when he was shot in the abdomen and the bullet exited his left shoulder?
Yes.
What was that additional evidence that you considered when reaching this opinion?
Well, I had asked for specific things for the doctor to include in the examination that would help me with rendering that information. One of them was to measure the location of the bullet strikes on the body, both the entry and the exits. And then I also asked for the use of trajectory rods, if it was available, to help demonstrate the angles of the shots so that I could visibly see everything. They have the unique experience of being able to see the actual damage to the organs as it's passing through. It's not all super clear for me for that part, so the trajectory rods help out a lot.
Having observed the location of the injuries, that measurement, the trajectory rods, did that further support or go against your opinion that Charles Vallow was laying on the ground when he was shot in the abdomen?
It further supported it.
In your opinion, then, can you list all the factors that you rely upon to determine that, or to reach your opinion that Charles Vallow was laying on the floor when he was shot in the abdomen and the shot exited his left shoulder?
The consistencies of a lot of the evidence that I had personally seen. The trajectory rods helped establish that alone, where it shows the entry into the lower left abdomen and then the exit out through the left shoulder blade area. The divot in the floor that was located underneath the body, the projectile that had expended the rest of its energy coming from underneath the body and coming to rest close to the body. There was a lack of stippling that was visible, meaning unburned powder or gunshot residue actually on the skin or clothing that we could identify. So that gave us the fact that the shooter was a bit of a ways away from the body, but the body was firmly on the floor at the time of the shot. There's just no way for the impact on the floor and the exit of the body to articulate anything else with that angle.
After you, let me ask you this. Do you recall how long you were at the scene that day?
I got there about 9 or a little after, and I think we left sometime between 1600 and 1630.
What's that in?
4 to 4:30 in the afternoon.
Did that sort of end your involvement in processing this whole scene?
The Four Peaks scene, yes.
Your Honor, the state has no other questions for this witness.
Cross-examination?
Your Honor, can I have a few minutes to defer with my advisory counsel? before
Briefly. Yep, briefly.
Had to do a off-camera sneeze. I'm telling you, this cold, man. It's coming. What are you doing, Bay? Are you working on the wedding right now?
Yeah, because I let Court know that I got all the ones that she needed me to, but then, yeah.
So what time did they go till yesterday?
I told you 6.
Their time.
Yep.
Wait, they went till 6 p.m. their time? So wait, you were on here until 8?
No, I'm sorry, 5 their time.
Come on, bro. That I almost dropped off my exercise ball.
So we got a half hour left.
Jeez. Okay.
Oh, wait, you're controlling it again?
No.
I did that?
Yeah.
Maybe it was never paused.
Bloop it.
I am.
Are you blooping?
I am.
To resolve something, it should only.
Bloop it.
I did. This is
All right, I
it.
need to excuse the jury for just a couple minutes to resolve something. It should only take a few minutes. We'll have you wait in the jury room, and then we'll continue.
I kind of missed what was going on.
Oh, Lisa hasn't seen the exercise ball? No. This is no donut. Lisa, that is a straight up exercise ball. Exercise ball.
Oh, we're live. Damn it.
Yeah, I switched to an exercise ball chair. It's amazing. Oh my God, what did you do?
Real time.
Oh.
Real time. Well, we can see if there's any super sticker. Nope. We could look
Oh,
for.
Lori was trying to call it for the day. Judge, I need to work in my cell overnight on crafting some questions. Talking about my ball history, just my ball, my one big ball. So I'm trying to find out. Tracy, Mandy, look in the chat about, like, I'm asking about Coburger.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know. Well, you're live right now, babe, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Lori's tired. It's hard trying cases. It's hard work. It's very mentally taxing. Very, very mentally taxing. Yeah, I got Allie the purple one. She got a nice purple ball. I got the gray ball. Yeah, I think they go till 5 because they start late. They start at 10:30. So I mean, like a lot of times when a judge does that, they might have. Oh, so somebody did confirm. Allie confirmed that they did.
Yeah, I told everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
because we got
crazy.
this comment here.
How do
And
they get? How do they get rid of a witness or a juror?
well, they have to use their cause.
What?
Well,
I
no,
mean,
no, I'm sorry. They probably still have for cause. And then
you
they,
have to have for cause, but
oh,
how do
wait,
you?
yeah, how do they,
How do you
what?
get rid of a juror that you can't stand? Now we know why they picked a jury in one day.
Yeah.
You can't bounce any jurors. Yeah, that juror. I don't want that guy.
So they have to take all the jurors that they can't get for cause. Huh.
It's crazy. Thanks, Alessi. That is nuts. That is crazy to me. You just stuck like Chuck.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to be able to get a diverse people with different thoughts and different. So I'm surprised, but I wonder if it's been challenged yet. Because then it doesn't allow you to choosing people that have different, backgrounds and
Yeah.
Detective Coons, you were the scene agent that day on scene, is that correct?
Primarily, yes.
And did you work for someone else before Chandler Police Department?
United States Army, Arizona Department of
He's
Corrections,
firing on me for that.
a couple other little jobs after I got out of the Army.
Did you work for Gilbert Police Department at all?
No,
just stay on, just like,
And as the scene agent that day, you talked about, you were there. Did you write a report about that day?
yes, ma'am.
When did you write that report?
I don't know the day I sat down to write it. It was shortly after the event,
So close to July 11th, 2019?
close to it.
Within a week, maybe?
Again, I don't recall when I specifically started typing that.
And when you arrived that day, who was there already?
Patrol officers,
Just them?
the fire department might have been there. Alex Cox was there. Other detectives arrived. I couldn't tell you the order of which everybody arrived.
And where did you park?
I parked north of the scene.
And then did you go directly into the house?
No, ma'am.
What did you do first?
I mean, not to just keep staying off topic, but we can always unpause. And what is the purpose of this extensive voir dire if they can't pick and choose who they get?
I know, it's crazy.
I mean, I guess to flush out any for cause, but
Right, like, what is the point of having
right,
a
but
voir dire other than cause? Yeah, it makes no
right.
sense.
So I guess just stuff like that we like to do as far as are you expecting her to testify at all? You know what I mean? And then maybe the judges are less inclined to rehabilitate on something simple like, yeah, but if I tell you follow the law, you'll do that, right? You
No,
know?
we're not in a hearing, we're in the trial, Shannon. Or no, Tina. This is the trial, not a hearing.
Yeah.
Are you trying to get some
I was, but it's not going to build up quick enough anyway.
We received a briefing of what patrol officers
She could open the
had
food.
learned.
Not careful.
We learned that there was a body inside the residence, and we came up with an investigative plan.
Who did that debriefing to you?
I don't think anybody specifically ran the debriefing. We, as detectives, gathered around the patrol officers, and they informed us basically of what they had seen and what they had been told.
And who were those detectives with you?
Well, Detective Duncan would have been there with me. Detective Moffett would have been there. I didn't take a roll call of all the detectives there. Possibly Detective Inklin. I don't know.
Okay. And then where did you proceed after that debriefing?
Well, after the debriefing, I provided the information of what I had learned to Detective Kaminsky, who is still back at the police department, and gave him the information necessary to request a search warrant for the residence.
And then what?
We waited.
To get the search warrant?
Yes, ma'am.
To have it issued?
To see if the judge would issue it, yes.
And how long did that take?
Don't believe we got word back from the courts until it would have been probably between 11:30, 11:45, and then we made entry shortly thereafter.
So is it your protocol that you can't enter until the search warrant is issued?
That is what we do once the scene has been made secure, yes.
Okay. And then when you entered, who entered with you?
Myself, the crime scene tech, we were the initial ones. I think Detective Duncan might have come in with us as well, but that would have been the extent of the initial entry.
Do you know the name of the crime scene tech that was with you?
Jordan,
Is that the last name or first name?
the last name.
And then what did you do after that?
Well, after that, we continued to go with our normal process of having photographs taken. I did the lizard Q spheres. I completed getting information necessary for the diagram that was presented, and continued to just do our job.
So is that protocol to do photographs first?
That would be our protocol, yes.
And then what do you do after that? I know that you were searching for the blood in all the rooms. When did that occur?
That occurs after the initial photographs are done, and then we can walk through and look in the particular areas that's been photographed already.
Okay, so the photographs are finished and then you guys kind of walk through.
Or at least finished in an area that we can actually walk through, yes.
Okay. And then when did you set up the tripod after, how long after that?
So the tripod was set up after the area had been photographed. So that way I wasn't interfering with anything. And that way we're not having the tripod in our original photographs.
Oh, right, makes sense. And do you think, so Detective Duncan was with you going through the house?
I believe he was there, yes.
So it was basically the two of you or three of you going through room by room, or were you split up, or how does that work?
We would have divided and conquered a little bit to make the search a little bit more expedient. But that, again, you're slowed to the time frame of what it takes to do the overall photographs.
So the photographs took about how long?
I don't ever look at my watch to see how long it takes because it's a big house, as you're aware. And I let the crime scene tech do their job. I don't push them and tell them that TikTok, there's nothing like that. It's do your job, we'll follow along.
Okay, and you guys started that process at about 11:45?
I think the actual time would have been closer to noon that we would have started that process.
And about how long did it take to go through the whole house, and about how long was that process?
Again, for me, I don't document how long it takes for any particular task because each scene is different. I just focus on doing the tasks. I rarely take a look at my watch to see how much time I'm spending on it because I want to do the job. I don't care about the time it takes.
And you did not pick up any of the evidence that was marked. That wasn't part of your protocol, is to take the evidence into custody. Is that correct?
Most of the evidence I did not pick up, correct.
And whose job is that?
We usually defer to the crime scene techs to do that. There are times that we will assist them with doing it depending on what the item is.
So that day, was it Jordan who did that? Was he the crime scene tech that took that evidence?
She would have been the one that was collecting at our direction, yes.
And so you kind of pointed out as the detectives, and then they pick it up and...
Correct, because they're trained how to handle evidence, how to package evidence, how to process. So we work in tandem together. We're the investigative body and they're the scientific portion of it.
Makes sense. Okay, what time do you think that well, let's ask this. After you're done with the photos, and then you're done with checking the house, and all of the evidence is picked up and logged, then what else do you do at the house? What else did you do at the house that day?
Well, you just bundled that up into like tiny little package, but it took a long time to get.
What you doing, woman? Don't make it last.
I was like, did you say pause it?
No,
Sorry,
God,
sorry.
no.
To
Don't
the
make
point
it
that you're
last any
talking
longer
about.
than I have to.
So my day pretty much involved the scene. As far as ancillary jobs to go somewhere else or do other things, no, my day was pretty much spent there on Four Peaks.
Correct. Yeah. So when did you leave the residence then?
Oh my God. Who
We
gives a shit?
from the house sometime between 4 and 4:30 p.m.
Objection. Who gives a shit?
And what other tasks did I miss that you accomplished during that 12 o'clock to the 4:30 time?
Oh my God. So she just
I just don't know what you were doing in there. Just
rule
wondering.
Well, we
of
identify
examination. Never
the
ask a
proper or
question
the
you don't know
evidence.
the answer to.
Wait, say it again.
She just broke the #1 rule of cross-examination. Never ask a question. Never ask a question that you don't know the answer to.
Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree.
Accomplished during that 12 o'clock to the 4:30 time.
Oh.
I just don't know what you were doing in there. I'm just wondering.
Well, we identify the proper or the evidence items. We're looking for other evidence items. I am still doing the diagram, so measurements need to be done. We have to wait for the medical examiner to arrive because we can't do anything with the body until they show up. And then once they show up, we pretty much stop with the other projects until we can focus on the body and get the body out of there, because there aren't very many investigators for the medical examiner in the county. So we don't want to tie them up longer than we have to. And then we'll resume searching or identifying information, evidence, collecting it, and working our way to a conclusion where we can leave the scene.
Okay.
Come on. If you got nothing on point, then just fucking.
So after searching the whole entire house, did you guys search the backyard at all?
It was searched.
Did you do that, or did someone else do it?
I did not.
Who would have been in the backyard searching?
It would have either been another detective or we would have asked an officer to do it.
And what would they be looking for?
Any blood evidence, anything to indicate based upon the information we had of the event that took place inside that house.
So when you made your assessment, You were able to leave after that assessment was made? That everything was accomplished?
Oh, what assessment are you talking about?
That all the evidence was gathered and collected?
That I was satisfied that we had collected what we needed to collect?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
We could just have Ms. Vallow move her reports away from the, it's showing.
Oh, is it showing?
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's, actually, let's just turn that off until we need it. Thank you.
Babe, what are we gonna do for dinner? It's like almost 7 o'clock.
I don't know. It's a family discussion with the whole family.
Yeah. Oh, you want to hear my Chad searching? They're searching. Lori, they're searching. Lori, they're
It's
searching.
almost done. Let's just get
Oh
it
my
done.
God, they're searching.
Take a poll for dinner.
Take a poll. Why y'all cooking?
So you stated earlier that the type of weapon that was found was a 45 caliber?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
had Taco
Is that
Monday.
a semi-automatic?
It is.
Okay. How is that different from like a revolver? What's the
Line
difference between
stopper.
that?
Habitual line stopper.
The build itself, I like to use simplistic terms when I describe what a revolver looks like. Most people are familiar with a Western movie. So the wheel gun, that's a revolver. What you see modern police officers carrying these days are semi-autos. So that's kind of the
milkshakes.
analogy I give to people that don't know guns.
And what's the difference between
I am
when
the
you're
dinner
shooting a
cooker.
semi-automatic or shooting a revolver, how fast you
Been
can
slacking
shoot?
though.
Does that make sense?
The speed on which somebody can shoot is dependent upon the shooter themselves, the skill level they have, the weapon they might be using. There are a lot of circumstances and things that happen to be able to qualify that statement.
Right. And you have taken many gun classes, right, that we heard of?
And I'm an instructor, yes.
And you're an instructor. So when you're taking a gun class, is it common for them to say, is it common that they tell you to shoot center mass? Is that a common term?
That is what we train as police officers, is to shoot center mass. It has the highest probability of guaranteeing a hit on the adversary that you're trying to shoot.
Right. So if you were being attacked, you should point at center mass. Is that correct?
That is what's trained, and because stress can obviously create issues, but yes.
Is it a common term to say to center mass?
No,
In
that
training?
that is something that I've heard, but I wouldn't classify it as common.
That's enough. You got enough.
Would you teach that in your class?
It depends on what class is and what we're actually doing. If it's standard officers, no, I don't tell them to always shoot to center mass, no.
If it was a novice who was like taking a gun class for the first time, would you teach them that?
No.
What would you teach them?
You would teach them to shoot till the threat went away, and that can be with one shot. It can be with more than one shot.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm surprised they haven't nipped that in the bud.
So in this
What, her
particular
little
gun, the 45,
extraneous comments?
when the shells are ejected, where do they go?
Out and away.
See, she
So
has
in this
no
particular gun, do they go
idea.
to the right or to the
Hold this
left?
1 second.
I've not tested.
So she has absolutely no idea how to question anybody who's an expert. Like all of the experts that come on, whether it's going to be the medical, are going to be so painful because she doesn't have the ability to be able to talk with her expert. I mean, I'm assuming maybe she can talk to her expert some, but she's just not going to be prepared to get into the nitty gritty with experts and challenge them in any way. Like that's why you're hearing just these inane questions. Take you set up your tripod. Who gives a shit? That like who cares? So yeah, all right, babe, fire it up. Let's go.
Okay, and then we've got to pick a time with everybody of when we're going to do that. Um, well, I'll text you, so don't go
Okay.
spitting stuff now.
Fired this particular gun. I believe that most semi-automatics fired this particular.
In this particular gun, do they go to the right or to the left?
I've not test fired this particular gun. I believe that most semi-automatics do eject the casings out to the right. Whether it's high right, low right, I'm not sure. It could be farther forward, it could be farther back. I did not test fire this gun, so I cannot speak specifically to how this particular gun ejects, other than most likely to the right.
But it could go to the left?
No, not the way the ejection port is set up.
So no guns that are 45s could go to the left?
Certainly, you could have a left-handed gun set up that it would eject that way. But the way this particular gun is set up, the ejection port dictates which way that's going to go. When the slide cycles back and that extractor pulls the casing back, the ejector is usually located on the opposite side of the extractor, and that will kick it out of the actual ejection port of the slide.
So for someone like me who doesn't really understand guns too well, you would say that a right-handed gun, they would eject out of the right, but a left-handed gun, they could eject out of the left.
And they're very rare to see.
And do people have left-handed guns? I guess I never really thought about that.
Some people do.
If you're left-handed,
Only guilty man in
want that, I
Shawshank.
guess. Okay. So
Boring.
in this particular case, when you said in your report that the shells bounced off the wall, they had gone to the right, like they were supposed to. Is that correct?
That is what I was operating off of, yes.
And then they would have bounced to the left.
Yes, because that makes sense.
And they would have landed to the left of my husband. Is that where they were found?
Along the west wall.
Okay. But how close to the wall were they found?
The pictures show where they were found. They're relatively close to the wall, inches away.
I was gonna say inches.
Yes.
Not feet, but inches.
Correct.
And so would that be a normal trajectory from hitting the wall to where they landed?
I am not surprised by seeing that, yes.
According to how fast they would be going. How fast does a casing come out of a gun? I don't really know.
I've never chronographed a casing coming out of a gun. I've only chronographed bullets. So I have no idea how fast a casing comes out. It doesn't come out with enough force to really hurt anybody.
So there weren't any divots in the wall or anything like that because.
There could be microscopic divots, but it'd be very difficult to find.
And you didn't find any that were visible to the eye?
Nothing that's caught my eye, no.
So were you there at the time when Alex did the walkthrough?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you were there. Did he describe where he was standing?
Sustained.
Did he show you physically where he was standing?
Sustained.
Was there a wall right next to where he was standing?
Sustained.
No.
I'm not asking for the truth of the matter asserted. I'm saying he observed this person standing in that place.
Well, you can ask him if he observed Mr. Cox standing in that place.
Okay. Did you observe Mr. Cox standing in the room where he told you that the gun was?
I observed him standing in the vicinity that he indicated.
And was that in the hallway or in the main room?
No, I'm going to object to hearsay. It's not testimonial,
Right.
but it is still hearsay.
If the question is in relation to Mr. Cox showing or recreating or demonstrating, then the objection is sustained.
Where did you observe Mr. Cox standing when he went through the walkthrough to?
Well, that's the testimony that I'm saying is a form of hearsay. So Please ask a different question.
2 hours. I've been
I'm trying to understand, Your Honor. So
very patient.
what the witness observed is not relevant?
I didn't say that. Let's do a sidebar.
Okay, I would love that.
I think we're
Shooter standing in that room.
oh, wait.
Mr. Coons, where would you place the shooter standing in that room?
Objection calls for speculation.
I would place the shooter in the area of where the curve of the wall was and the kind of the hallway entry area, somewhere in that general area.
So would you have it, what direction would you place him standing?
Oh, I thought I
Facing,
turned
I
the-
mean.
I thought I
Not
turned
standing,
the
but
ad
facing.
off.
For which shot?
Ooh,
The first one.
The first one in a more easterly direction,
Mhm. And the second?
in a more northern direction with a slight deviation to the east.
So would you have him stepping forward? Is that what you're saying?
No,
What direction would you have him moving?
I didn't say the shooter moved.
You're just saying that
yeah, right. You just did, kind of.
he shot from a different angle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you think he was standing in the same location?
I don't know that.
So according to where you put him standing with the first shot, the casing bounced off of the wall to the right and landed to the left.
Correct.
And then where you have him standing in the second shot, the same thing happened.
Approximately, yes.
And how far apart were those casings found?
I don't have the specific measurement of how far apart they were. They were a few feet.
So they're a few feet apart.
Yes.
So if he was standing in the same place, would they be a few feet apart? Or would they be closer?
It depends on a different amount of things, like how was the gun being held? Was it canted to the side? Was it not? What the angle was? Could the shooter have moved? A little, but it would have been the same general vicinity.
But you said he didn't move, according to you.
God for Gigi.
I said I didn't say he moved.
So he could have moved because they were more than a foot apart, the casings found.
A little, yes. Would have been in the same general area.
So he could have taken a couple steps.
Perhaps. Could have slid the body sideways. Anything that you can do to the body, it could have been done in a short area.
And is that common in, I don't know with shooting, if is that common with someone to shoot once and then move and shoot again?
Speculation, relevance,
I'll sustain it on speculation.
In your experience as a firearms expert who fires a lot of guns, right? Would that be a common thing to do?
An objection is to speculation as to when, where, circumstances.
All right, I'll sustain the objection as to speculation.
Duh.
Let's talk about stippling.
Let's talk about stippling,
The
sir.
first shot, according to you, had stippling. Is that correct?
No,
It did not have any stippling.
none was observed.
And the second shot,
None was observed.
Oops.
no stippling was observed.
Correct.
Oops.
Is that what's in the ME's report?
I believe so.
That there was no stippling?
Oh, she's going to try to impeach him, babe. It should be fun.
Can I have a minute, Your Honor?
Good luck.
Can you tell me how to impeach this guy? Hello, standby counsel. Miss Advisory Lawyer, can you please tell me how to impeach?
Somebody asked in Twitter, we have a store on Bonfire with our merch, some of our merch, a majority of our merch is there. If anybody ever wants to buy a t-shirt, we throw it in the chat throughout the lives all the time. But I know that Crazy Mom over on Twitter had asked. There it is. We love when people support the show.
We were observing the autopsy. That Emmy didn't say anything about stippling,
I don't recall any mention about stippling.
and you didn't have a discussion with him about it?
We would have if he'd observed any.
And so if he said that to someone else, you would be surprised?
I don't know what he had in his notes. I didn't author his report.
Can you describe stippling for us? What that is?
Sure. It's basically a combination of particles that come out from behind or follow the projectile as it exits the barrel. A lot of times it's partial burned or unburned powder, and it's a short distance phenomena, so the person has to be extremely close for the pattern to actually present itself and the particles embed in the clothing or the skin.
So if stippling was found, how far away would the gun have to be from the victim
That depends on the gun.
on this 45 semi-automatic?
I am not a expert on the stippling patterns. That is something that we would have to send to the lab for. And what they would do is they would test it with witness panels at different distances to give that information.
Is there an estimate?
That's where it would come in. Usually the medical examiner, if they observe stippling, will give an estimate of close or contact.
So would you be surprised if he said 2 to 4 feet?
If that's what he says.
That if there's stippling, then the gun would have to be 2 to 4 feet.
It's possible, but I wouldn't hold my hat on that, no. I would have to have the gun tested for that.
Okay. And so,
Is this a good spot to break for the evening?
sure, Your Honor.
I mean, I'm not cutting you off. If you want to ask a few more questions, that's fine.
Nope, that's fine.
All right, we'll take our evening
Yeah.
recess. Members of the jury, please remember the admonition thing.
All rise for the
And we'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Thank you.
10:30 a.m. Wow. All right. There you go.
No, we
There
gotta
you have
come
it.
over
Day
here. We got a couple new
in the books.
got a couple new. Alessi followed up, gave us some more information. Thanks for your generosity. Lawmakers have entered a bill to reinstate preemptories for civil actions only. So that's even weirder to me as well.
That
Thank
is
you.
weird. And then
Lisa
distracted
said-
therapists had given a lot of love there. We
Yeah,
thanked you in the
I
chat.
thanked her earlier, but thanks again for your
Not
generosity.
out loud, only
Okay.
on I don't think.
Okay, Lisa, thanks for your generosity. The jury has got to be thinking it's odd that a person slash suspect would want to do this. What kind of person does this? Someone off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She off.
Brown-eyed girl 714, thanks for your generosity. This case is so sad but has interesting details. But this trial, though, is like watching paint dry. And then like
Love watching you too.
oh, it's a hands of love.
Hands
Okay.
of love.
All
With
right.
the hands of love, watching the Lori Vallow trial with
Nana
my-
of 7. Wow. Buy the screaming goat for times like this. Yeah, right.
Screaming goats sound like humans. It's amazing.
Thanks for your generosity.
All right,
Thanks.
you guys are amazing. Amazing.
All right,
We
so we
love
need
you.
to figure out when. Hold on. like if we want to do that Richard Allen video watching.
Well, we're not going to
party.
do it tonight.
Right, but when we're going to do it, because we're going to be wrapping up around this time every day. So, and let's create a portal to publicly buzzed while we're.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me jump over there. Oh yeah, they have Murder Church on tonight. Wait, is it Tuesday?
You okay?
Let me see. Yeah, she's fine. She's trying to get a ride over to the Jewels still. That's what she's doing. Okay, let me see. PB. Where is it?
All right, I'm going to leave you to do that while I take the girls to their favorite.
Oh
spot.
wait, is tonight the book club or is tonight? I'm seeing the book club. Is book club correct? Yeah, the 8th. Okay. All right. Did it. All right. So I just portaled you all over to Steve for book club. I think they're reading an Anne Rule book. It's pretty good. I think it's Helter Skelter. It's not the Anne Rule book. I thought I saw an Anne Rule book. I thought he posted something with Anne Rule. So yeah, Helter Skelter. All right, y'all. We love you guys, mods. We love you so much. Thank you for suffering through Lori Vallow's drivel for an entire second day of drivel. All the drivel. Is that members only? What? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Guess y'all find out the hard way or become members over at PB. All right, y'all. We love you guys so much. Make sure that you share, like, subscribe. If you're a replay crew, please leave a comment. It helps get us in the algo. You guys are amazing. We will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. You guys are the best because without you, I am just an old man talking about a whole bunch of cases. Bye.